Right, you're live.
Very good morning to everybody. This is a post-Chester Races Rob Taylor from the 212 Men, joined by George Bott Bottomley. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. Fresh as a daisy. You're worse for wear, I can tell.
Yeah, I don't look great, do I?
I'm messing around for these pastries.
I know.
That's why we're late.
Welcome everybody. This is we're kind of resembling this morning the violinist from the Titanic, aren't we? For those who've not seen the film, when the ship's going down and the band's sort of jovially play on, don't they? Despite the situation that they're in. England are in a real predicament this morning. It's not gone England's way, has it? For the entirety of this test, really, just shot themselves in the foot completely. It's been massively frustrating. What do you
shot
think?
Themselves in the foot the whole series, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like Edgbaston shot themselves in the foot. I think when we were, what was it, day 2, 180 for 1. I think it was like 65% in our favour. Wimbers
For sure, yeah.
It's now 14%. It has been a bit of a...
What the hell was that, by the way? I've just seen a footage of Mitchell Stark's catch. Did that get actually given?
So is that out or not out? Is your first question? That's my question.
That's not out. He's just clearly like scrubbed the used the surface of the ball on the ground.
See, my instinctive reaction was out. I thought he'd cleanly taken it, and then he puts his hand on the ground. However, having, as you always do after every controversial cricket thing, people go through the laws back and forth.
Yeah.
You have to have control. I thought he had control of the ball.
Yeah.
You have to have control of your body.
Yeah.
And to control his body, he's put the ball on the ground. So it's probably one of them where it's a tough one, because realistically everyone looks at it and goes, well, he caught it. He's clearly caught it.
Yeah.
But as per the laws of the game, it's probably not out.
What's happened to Cummins' eye, by the way? That's a real shiner, isn't it?
You've not watched any of this match?
I have watched it. I've just been, from a distance at the races and things like that.
He was fielding and the ball kicked up and hit him in the eye at one point.
Right.
They're a good side, these lot, aren't they? I think that's what we've learned over these last 2 test matches.
Yeah. It's been difficult to express our new version of cricket against a quality bowling attack.
Yeah. So realistically, this is miracle stuff. Absolute miracle stuff. These two would have to get us, in my view, to 260 to have a chance. I think when Bairstow comes in to have a chance, you need about 100 left, because you haven't got anything after Bairstow. It's yeah. When I was following the cricket from the races, and when we bowled them out, I thought it was on. I thought the total was very achievable. I think.
Hang on, we're looking like an out here, aren't we? No.
I think as a numeric total, 370 for this team doesn't feel a million miles away. But the way that the cricket shaped up yesterday, the bowling tactics that were used by both sides, I think it's near on impossible to get 370 on here, just because it's just such an up and down pitch, 2-paced pitch. I think wickets are always going to fall, and with the batting lineup that we've got, with only Bairstow to come, you need more than.
Where's all this dubious catching come from, by the way? It seems to be a series of dubious catches, or a summer of Australian dubious catches. We had the Cam Green one in the World Test Championship final, didn't we?
I think in every Ashes summer there's a narrative, isn't there, that brings itself. I felt like there's probably 2 narratives that come out of this game. Maybe we need more clarity on what a catch is, because instinctively, like I say, when I first saw that catch, I thought, that's a bit harsh. However, it seems like it's not. And then yesterday, I think with the bowling tactics that were used by both sides, we might need a change in the law, because it was a bit crap. The cricket yesterday, it was boring.
Speaking of crap, talk me through Harry Brook's wicket. I mean, what the hell is that?
Yeah. So if we take a step back, I think after day 3, we were both apoplectic at the performance that was put on display. Conor Ames says, "Hi lads." I don't know whether he's going to follow that up at some point with something of value, but carrying on. We were both fuming after day 3. It does look like it's been a hard pitch to bat on. Yeah. So in some ways, I think there was a less stupidity than we were initially slating them for. However, we do need to be better.
You've really not been happy, have you, over these messages, the text you sent?
No.
I got like this like passive-aggressive text from you saying, listen, Rob, I know you like to be positive, mate, but there's absolutely no positives in this. Almost like using me as your punching bag a little bit. Like, I bet you sat there thinking, he's going to be fucking sat there positive, aren't you?
Yeah. No, you were winding me up at one point. You were really
I try and make life more enjoyable for you.
Sometimes it's just common sense, and
I don't know how you get through life with this negative persona that you've got.
I think it's just
do you like go on holiday and just go, this is shit the minute you rock up?
No, holidays are good, but the cricket that's been played by England so far has been pretty crap.
I like your chain, by the way. It's like you bring in the Jofra Archer to the Ashes, which isn't here. We could do a Jofra Archer, couldn't we? Thanks for anyone that's joined us. We can see the viewers on screen. You can leave comments. You can ask us questions. What our favourite pastry is, who our favourite cricketer is, a bit about the test itself. We're going to be a couple of minutes behind you guys naturally when we live stream this, or we do it legally and legitimately. Is that the right thing to say? Please share comments. We love answering them. Connor's got us started. Connor joined me at the race yesterday. He boasted this tremendous looking suit, something that wouldn't look out of place at Lords. Did you see it?
Seen it, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of had like flowers on it, and very suitable to the guy's personality.
I liked it. I thought there was he was a really shining light in terms of fashion, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was more Lord's ascot than Chester, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of Scousers there yesterday, just in the conventional suits.
Did you see anyone competing with him?
No, not at all, really. No.
Really
I did get complimented on my shoes by a guy. Did I tell you? An old guy. He came like, again, another guy that wouldn't look out of place at Lord's. He said something along the lines of, he went, "Oh, goodness me, sir, I'd like to stop you there. I've noticed that you're wearing a fine pair of Loke shoes, Loke Brogues, Northampton, which happens to be the city of where I'm from." Which is a town actually, but he was absolutely stoked that I was wearing a pair of Lokes. So I think you should get a pair of Lokes because it would add to the list of things that I've inspired you to do. So I've inspired you on coffee, I've inspired you on Charles Tyrrett, I've inspired you on quite a couple of things. Golf.
I don't play golf.
Holiday destinations.
Yeah.
In fact, you hate my holiday destinations, don't you? It's reported.
I don't. That's
this is the guy who thinks the Algarve shit.
I think that Algarve has too many golf courses.
Don't play golf then.
Yeah, I don't play golf.
Go to the beach. There's more. You can't take issue with a place.
Why don't we make this a cricket podcast? Right?
It is a cricket podcast.
I know you've got in at 1:30. You probably still half cut, but let's. What's next in the comments? Right, Lion batting yesterday. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I did actually because we got it on my phone, and it was quite humorous because he couldn't run, could he? No, so he was just swinging from his hip. And despite, the ball reaching out towards the boundary, he went for running, was he?
So a couple of people who are, Nina's brothers, who are less kind of au fait with cricket, more rugby fans, were kind of asking.
Quite boring people.
Yeah, well,
I'm joking. Go on.
Someone's got to be a rugby fan, aren't
they? Yeah.
They were asking, what's the point in this? Why can't we have subs? And I suppose that there is a little bit of common sense there of what is the quality of cricket when you've got Lion hopping out, but also there's the romance and the theatre of Test cricket. There's a bit of a balance there. I quite like it. I suppose one thing I'm really struggling with in this Ashes is I actually think the Australian cricket team are more likeable than the English cricket team.
Really?
Yeah. I think they're a good team. They talk sense. I'm starting to like most of them. I think Nathan Lyon seems like a good bloke.
Yeah, he does. To be fair, he's not like Nathan Lyon hasn't got over involved in the sledging aspect, hasn't he? The Robinson thing, he didn't bother him, did it?
Well, the players haven't got overly involved, have they? And
it's just 90s noughties Australia that seem to be upset about that.
I think there's a reflection of they just don't quite rate this side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good to see Lyon out there. Obviously, they did get 15 more runs once he was out there. So if it comes down to a miracle at the end of the day, they might prove to benefit from that. I suppose it'd be a great irony if after England declared on 393, leaving some runs, and Australia won it, if we came up short with them kind of being extra prudent and adding those 15 runs, that'd be a good tale. But
it's a state of play here now. 119 for 4. Stokes and Duckett still in. If there's any possibility of England winning this game, you've got to think England these two pair have got to get us to 250, haven't they?
They've got to get 100 each. I think.
Well, they individually have got to get 100
each.
Yeah.
I go that far. So what if Duckett got another 50 runs?
Yeah.
That's 170. So we'd be 200 behind and 70. Yeah. So I reckon both need 100. What's our bowling lineup for Headingley gents? Connor Hamer. So I've got my own views on this. What do you reckon?
I think if he's fit, it's a no-brainer that Mark Wood has to play. The sort of the flavour of the series so far has been bounce and pace. That seems to be the best ploy that both teams are executing successfully, or what's sort of prompting wickets. If Mark Wood is fit, he has to play. The pace that he brings, the different dimension he can give our bowling attack when things start to get a little bit, dry. It's just that. I've just been thrown a little bit by Jim Jason's comment saying, "What undies you got on?" Who did you advertise this to?
Don't know.
Is he a friend of yours?
No, I think he's a friend of yours. You've used all your channels there to advertise it. It must be a friend of yours.
Perhaps, yeah.
What? Who did you say then? Sorry,
Mark Wood's going to play.
Wood's
yeah.
Right, who else?
I'm really worried about Anderson.
I think Anderson's done. I think his career's done. He couldn't catch.
He looks miserable as well, doesn't he?
He's dropped 2 sitters. He looks miserable. He looks like he knows it's over.
He's miserable for Anderson's sort of,
we talked
his
about
standards. He's quite a grumpy-looking guy in general, isn't he?
Yeah, we talked about this in the 60th episode last week. Is this team with the batting lineup that we've got? We're gonna have to play on flat pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson can't perform on these pitches.
He's already kind of like moaned, and he said he might as well quit if he can't. If these are going to be the sort of wickets, but they're the wickets that Stokes wants.
Yeah, I think Broad has been the player of the series for us so far.
Yeah,
he's contributing pretty much. He didn't contribute in the first innings here,
but
he's got best part 10 wickets over 2 Test matches.
Yeah,
he has been our best bowler. I think Robinson looks a little bit slow on these pitches.
Yeah,
there's a question around him. I'd be tempted to have a look how Walks is shaping up in the nets because he does give us batting at 8, gives us better balance. I do think we'll need a bit of spin at Headingley. I remember when we played there in 2019, Lyon bowled very well. It was turning on that pitch. Tongs, I think, made himself undroppable. I think he's been brilliant in this Test match. He was brilliant yesterday. And yeah, you've got to bring Wood in, haven't you?
You've got to bring Wood if he's fit. Is there an argument to bring Walks in to replace Anderson?
I think Walks is the natural replacement for Anderson. Gives us batting at 8. If you're going with the only one,
that chocolate all over your face.
I know these pastries aren't exactly ideal for this, are they?
You can't chew properly now, like Boris Johnson.
Yeah,
hair all over the place.
Yeah, I think Tong has made himself undroppable. Broad's probably the one of the 3, Anderson, Robinson, and Broad, that you keep in there. I think they've really shown us that. I go back to the Duncan Fletcher years he used to say that in Test cricket, you need 85-mile-an-hour bowlers. And I think we're starting to see that. When we come up against good teams these days, this Australian side are the best team in the world. We can't compete with the bowlers that we have. It's too easy for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So, bowling tactics yesterday, I don't suppose you'll have seen much of this. So let me give you a little bit of a... It's basically Bodyline 2.0, what's going on at the moment. Everybody's out on the leg side. It's Neil Wagner. Everyone's following a Neil Wagner craze. Everyone out on the leg side, just whack it into the pitch. I think England bowled 98% of their deliveries were short yesterday.
Yeah.
98% of deliveries were bouncers. 78-mile-an-hour bouncers, so it's not exactly exciting. It's not Jofra Archer and Smith.
I reckon you could give it a good go facing that.
Yeah, it's and it's just basically a war of attrition.
Yeah.
Essentially, you'll either score at 1 and over, get the odd wide, get the odd no ball, or you'll ping it up to square leg and you'll be out.
Yeah.
So it's been tough viewing. I think they'll probably, if it carries on like this Test cricket, you probably see a regulatory change at some point.
Yeah. So far, so good for these boys, unless the people know something that we don't know. They seem to be sticking around. There seems to be runs still in the pitch. One thing about Australia is they're a great fielding side as well, don't they? They take all their chances. I know Labuschagne dropped one in the first innings, didn't he?
Yeah.
But they've been pretty consistent on the whole, I think, when it comes to fielding. Can't be said for England, though.
Yeah.
We're really disappointed in the field, haven't they?
I think one thing about England over the last few years is we have been a very inconsistent side in terms of the players we've selected.
Yeah.
I don't think that helps in the field. Never helps in the slips. And, we're kind of reaping what we've sown over not really knowing our direction over the last few years.
Yeah.
I am starting to come to terms with the fact that Burstow does make us sloppier in the field. I don't know how you get 8 into 7. I think the Pope injury will make things interesting. What's your thoughts on the Pope injury?
Thoughts on this is what I said to you before the Test series started. I think you've got to kind of open with folks. Open with Bairstow.
Yeah.
He opens in ODIs. He plays like he plays ODIs anyway, so I don't get why we would be so nervous to open with him.
And Duckett and Crawley
I put Duckett free.
Duckett and Crawley started this series well.
Exactly.
Opening.
I'm not dropping them.
Would you mess with that?
Yeah, I would. I mean, they've started this series well as openers, but they've also scored runs, so why not? And that would allow for Folks then to come in after Stokes. I think where we've really missed Folks, and I know this is something you neglected my opinion on, arrogantly, I'm going to say, is that in times like the first innings where England were collapsing, so we're in a really good position, and then all of a sudden the wicket started to tumble, he's that glue in the middle order that can keep England together. Someone who can stick around with a Root or a Stokes.
And I think the problem is
he's a nice barrier between that and the tail.
So there's one wicket that changes that scenario. So if Root is at the crease and Folks is at the crease, Folks is perfect at kind of being the anchor. For Root to support Root.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that the gamble that England have taken is if one wicket falls and you've got Broad coming in at 8, you quickly end up with a scenario where you need Bairstow to tee off. So realistically, they've said, well, we're not going to stay around for long. We need Bairstow to tee off at number 7.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy it. I like that theory, to be honest.
I think the other challenge, I was talking to our mate D yesterday evening. I was saying the two options that probably
he's another Bairstow in the Bairstow company.
Yeah,
another one back in his
sensible
face.
lad. No, he's a sensible lad. Another one who's kind of another direction you could go is you could put Bairstow at 3.
Mm-hmm.
You could put Root at 3, move everyone up 1.
You don't like batting 3, does he?
He doesn't like batting 3.
He's made that very clear.
He probably is our best number 3, only in a temporary slot.
Yeah, while we have injury.
I know it's never gone well for us previously, but again, with this side, we always quickly into crisis, aren't we? We're only 10 minutes away from crisis.
Yeah. A couple of boundaries knocking around here, isn't there?
You could put Stokes at 3. He probably has the best defence with a lot. Put Bairstow to 6 and have Folks at 7.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're going to have Folks at 7, I do think you need someone like Wilkes at 8 or Ali at 8. I think that is the...
It's the kind of modern day test team, isn't it? Having someone in that zone now. We're just seeing some footage of what looks like, is it the 2018 World Cup? 2019, sorry.
Yeah.
And Mitchell Stark bowling a Yorker. He's for me, Mitchell Stark's always performed better with white ball.
Yeah.
But he's an incredible bowler. They call him the mop. Do you know why that is?
Yeah, because he mops up the tail.
Yeah.
And
he is pretty good at that. And that's a massive tool for Australia. They've got having Mitchell Stark.
I was thinking this morning, all 4 of their bowlers who started this Test match.
Mm-hmm.
If you think Lyon still fit,
they
absolutely walk into our side, don't they?
Yeah,
they just.
One thing I will say, that if we can clutch at straws, a lot of people have been doom and gloom. So it looks like England will probably lose this Test match 2-0, which then makes obviously the series very difficult to turn around. One silver lining I can kind of get with this is that I always cling on to this record where Australia haven't won in England for 20 years. It's a very proud mantelpiece kind of thing for me that sort of hides from the embarrassments we have down under. This Australian team is quite aging, so there's going to be a natural change around next time an Ashes takes place, I think, with terms of careers. And as teams, South Africa, England, when they go through these cycles, it isn't always a progressive sort of next direction. They could have a dip few years, like under Michael Clarke when they had some real grey areas, didn't they, in terms of the fast bowling was like mix and match. They were struggling to pin down a spinner after Shane Warne. So there's every chance that this has been obviously a dominant era in terms of Ashes cricket for Australia, but England's quite a youthful side. We could be seeing hopefully a changing of the guard in a few years. Is that a really clutching at straws, or is that one positive that you've thought of?
Yeah, most of the Australian side will probably retire over the next couple of years, won't they? Warner's going in January, he says.
Is that official?
He says he wants to retire at the Sydney Test match in January.
Against who?
I think it's Pakistan that they've got. I'm not sure.
That's a banker.
I don't know.
It is really a graveyard going out to Australia to tour, isn't it?
Yeah. Connor says, what's your most hated current player and why?
Is that English or Australian?
Australian player, sorry.
Oh, that looks plum, mate.
It's not out that.
No, it's not. Connor, Travis Head is annoying me a little bit at present. I have nothing against him as a person. He seems a nice guy. It gives me a real creeps, the Australian mustache kind of thing, the Merv Hughes kind of thing. It just makes me instantly angry for some reason.
Lyon used to be the one
Yeah.
who used to really get on
When he
with
used to
my
bang on
skin.
about the ending
Yeah.
career stuff.
Yeah.
But he's humbled a lot in recent years, hasn't
Well,
he?
that's what I was saying about this Australian side is, unfortunately, they seem to be the ones who kind of are shutting up at the moment and making themselves a little bit more likable.
I'll tell you who does made in. They're ex-Australians.
Warner's become more likable, hasn't he?
Yeah. We're in the TikTok era of David Warner.
Heading, right? Australian who does my heading, Glenn McGrath.
Oh, yeah.
It's
so boring, isn't it? This 5-0 thing. There's merit to it, saying Australia will win Test Series 5-0, but it's kind of like the shit dad joke that people say all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's one of the worst commentators going around.
You know what you need to do if you ever get like a spare moment? Watch the Headingley Test match. Rewatch Glenn McGrath's face on that final few overs. I mean, what I will say is I think English commentators, Jonathan Agnew, Nasser is saying, they're brilliant at being impartial, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not too biased towards England.
Yeah.
But Glenn McGrath he's an Australian cheerleader.
Yeah.
He's like an Indian commentator. He's like Sunil Gavaskar.
We've gained 4% since we've started in the WinViz.
Yeah.
So there's a positive for you, Rob. Sunil Gavaskar, Glenn McGrath, those kind of commentators, they can go in the bin.
Yeah. I mean, Ganguly's not great as well, is he?
No.
Not Ganguly.
Shastri's not great. Shastri, you like Shastri, but
I do. He's cool.
He does my head in.
He comes out with
go away.
He comes out with some of the most like bizarre tweets. Ravi Shastri, have you seen him?
No, I don't. No, I've not.
He says things like, "You'll slide into my DMs" and stuff. He's like a 50-odd-year-old bloke.
Yeah, he's a strange bloke.
He's also thinking ex-Australian manager. He's like so
Langer,
intense, isn't he?
Yeah, Langer. Remember when we're at the Oval and he's walking around the ground? Picture every 5 minutes. Yeah,
he's the sort of guy I think who would squeeze your hand really tight and like stare at you.
Yeah. He's
funny, innit? Cricket produces loads of characters.
I suppose the Australian that I do hate the most out of this lot, not for his personality or who he is as a person, but just for the misery that he's inflicted over the years, would be Smith. It's metronomic misery.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on, and it looks awful.
He got me when he was interviewed, and he goes, "I love playing against England."
Yeah.
He's got motive to bring people like me and you pain.
Yeah.
That's what he gets his kicks off. Upsetting you.
But he obviously does love playing against England, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
His record must be the best against England if they compared it.
Yeah.
I know they play England the most, but if you broke it down, I think he's been suspect against India. If anyone knows that, please, let us know in the comment section. This Jim Jason's got a real thing for me and you kissing. That ain't gonna happen, pal.
No.
You don't want to be kissing me after what I drank yesterday either.
Yeah, I think the alliteration on that name brings it to some usual suspects.
Yeah. Although that's not really our friend's humour kind of thing, is it?
Yeah, well.
Oh, well, at least he's enjoying himself.
Yeah. So, Steve Smith, I'll have a look for you. So, Duckett, without jinxing him, I don't like...
He's having a fine test match, isn't he? Well, if he gets that now, he's still had a good test match, isn't he?
He's done better than most English openers have done in the Ashes over recent years, hasn't he?
It's been a bit of a voodoo position, hasn't it?
He has. I think he's got an element of our David Warner. Like he's diminutive. He's busy between the wickets.
The polite way of calling someone small is low centre of gravity.
Yeah,
it means they can move quick.
Crabby would be the kind of description that I think the commentators would usually put to a player like that.
Come on, get on Smith's record. Let's have a look.
Go on, you do some filler while I'm picking this up.
So a decent start for England this morning. No wickets to fall as of yet. Touch wood.
I don't think that's wood. Is it wood?
I think it's wood or mahogany. But there still seems like runs to this pitch. Do you not think? I think England left a lot on them again. The last podcast we recorded was called Missed Opportunities. A lot of runs left out there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think this is the problem with this side is that how many times have we been in a completely dominant position?
Yeah.
And half an hour later, Australia back in the game, and not just back in the game, in a dominant position themselves.
Yeah.
You can't do that against the best sides in the world. You can do that against the West Indies, Sri Lanka. We can do that all summer next summer.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot do that in a series like this. And I think the problem with a series like this is if you're going to play in this fashion, English fans will quickly turn against you in an actual series.
Yeah. We can feel it already, can't we? When the wickets tumble, everyone's going, this is not what we signed up for. This is, this is crap. We can't play like this. It's great when you're winning, isn't it?
So average against England, 58. He's got 1200s against England, Steve Smith.
That's frightening, isn't it? That's like more than a lot of players' careers.
32. So by far and away.
That probably exceeds, like, you know, when I always look, when I look at batsmen over the years, I always look at how many 50s, how many 100s they've got. It's always like a go-to stat for me kind of thing there. And that outspans a lot of English players over the years, you know, like.
Yeah, it's grim that.
Who've been a main fixture in England's team for a long period of time.
He's had 60 innings against us, 1200s, 11 50s, so 23 scores in 60 innings. 1 in 3 innings he'll score runs against us. It's just demoralising.
Yeah.
India he averages 66 against.
That's fucking brilliant, isn't it?
West Indies he averages 150 against. So at least we're not the worst. Yeah. To be honest, we're a bit.
Poor Kemar Roach.
New Zealand 58, Pakistan 54. I mean, he's just an incredible player, really. Anyway, pretty middle of the road.
Yeah. At what point does he exceed Ponting?
Yeah, I think he has exceeded.
No, I mean in your personal view, because I've always, when we spoke about Steve Smith, you've always placed Ponting on a higher pedestal, and I think I still do, to be honest.
So Steve Smith has 32 centuries.
Yeah. Ponting's got 40, hasn't
41, I think.
Yeah.
So you've got 9 to go.
He's going to do that, isn't he?
To match him.
I think Steve Smith will be here the next Ashes in England.
Well, he has talked about retiring. I suppose there's an element of, if some of his mates, I'm not saying Warner's his mate, but, you know, if some of this side start to leave.
It's whether he'll stay around for the new generation.
Whether he wants to play in the new generation or whether he'll decide to go out on a high. I mean, he's not struggled now since probably when he first came into the side in 2009, has he? Since...
Do you remember when he rocked up Steve Smith as this like chubby little leg spinner, and everyone saw his technique and everyone thought, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Back in those days, like Lyon turned up at a similar time. I thought he was crap.
Dudley, good mate of ours, you know, he went to Old Trafford, and I remember him putting a Facebook status saying, "If Steve Smith gets 100 tomorrow, I'll walk out the ground." Yeah, because he said he looks absolute dog shit. Yeah, little would he know what would happen in the years to come.
And he still looks terrible, really, doesn't he?
Well, does he really? Does he? I know it's unconventional, but he gets all the bases covered, doesn't he? And I think he is. I still for whatever you don't want to call him, you know, conventionally, he's still great to watch when he's on. If you were Australian, he rocks into bat, you're thinking we're safe here, we're in good hands.
Yeah, but people used to say Jonathan Trott looked awful and Cook wasn't fun to watch.
Trott just took ages, didn't he?
If you're an England fan, you'll love that, don't you? See, that's what I slightly miss, being kind of a miserable old traditional cricket fan.
You're just miserable, aren't you?
Yeah, Cook and Trott just wearing a team into the dirt.
Trott used to like garden, didn't he? He used to make such a fucking mess of the pitch because he'd do loads of different markers for himself on offside, leg side. He'd absolutely he'd dig a grave. I remember at one point, I think Billy Bowden actually stepped down the wicket and just like taps his watch, didn't he? Yeah. And just said, "Come on, mate, get on with it."
But it was good, wasn't it? You know, when we think back to Brisbane, when Cook and Trott turned it around. I know that wasn't a very good Australian side. I think that this Australian side is probably as good as our Cook, Peterson, Trott era.
It's got everything, hasn't it? Yeah.
And we're probably a similar standard to that Australian era, that we've got some good players, but we're just not quite at the races against the best sides.
Sorry, I'm just grimacing here because we've not got the sound, so I can't hear any nicks or anything. I think Alex Carey's done well to cement his place in this team. Yeah. They had a bit of a, if anything, you know, when we were saying like where could they improve, you kind of thought when Payne departed, you wondered who was going to fill that slot, but Carey's done a really good job.
Green's not been.
He's helped by the balance in his side. I think if there were a few batters light, you know, he'd probably have more pressure. He comes in at a time where they should almost have the runs. Does that make sense?
Well, that is the thing about their top four. If you look at their top four, Warner 25 centuries, Khawaja's got 15 now, I think.
Yeah.
Labuschagne's obviously averaging 55, 10 centuries, and then you've got Smith at 4.
Yeah.
Head's the counter-attacker at 5. And then Green and Carey, they can kind of do what they want, can't they, by the time? They're rarely in a bad position when Green and Carey are coming in. And I suppose that's why we have to pile the runs on against these lot, because they're pretty ruthless.
Do you want to come in while I have my first pastry of the morning?
Yeah, go on.
Pastries brought to you by Lidl.
I've given up on these pastries now because I don't think it's wise to eat on a live stream. I just think it's just too hard work. So for me, Broad's been our player of the series. It'd be interesting if we could. Oh crap, that's out. That's out. That fucking hell.
Has he hit that? Has he hit that? Because he's reviewed it straight away.
No, I think it's desperate.
It
review.
took a long time, didn't he?
It's a desperate review. That Smith don't look keen, but I think if he's not hit that, that looks out to me.
He's hurt.
His umpire's call at best. I think like Australia have the umpire's call in their favour. Don't know.
We're behind, so the destiny is already decided, probably.
Yeah.
You called it straight away. It took a long time over that decision, that Murray Erasmus.
It's not Murray Erasmus.
Yeah, it is. Oh,
No, it's not.
Who is it?
Or he's hit it. Thank God for that.
Oh, you're fucking smart, aren't you?
Well, he'd absolutely plumb if he's not hit it.
Steve Smith knew straight away.
That is not Murray Erasmus.
All right, whatever, but I think I'm doing remarkably well, actually, considering my alcohol consumption.
Well, you knew we were doing this.
Well, I was going to the races.
What do you think of my graphic design?
Really good, by the way. This guy is. I just thought you were just some boring accountant, but you know you can do other things, can't you?
Yeah, try my best.
Yeah, you've not done that. Nina's done that, haven't you?
No, I did that yesterday morning. Yeah, I got up.
Sure.
First thing yesterday morning. Nina's in the Isle of Man at the moment, so I got up. I did that.
What the hell's she gone there for?
A friend lives there. She doesn't really know. But anyway.
It's that sort of place where it'd be full of weirdos in pubs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't comment. And
where's that place in Scotland where all the blokes started on you up?
That was the Island Mull. That was me and Sellers.
Were the people a bit weird though?
It was.
Go on, you can say. I don't think anyone's tuning in from the Island Mull.
Yeah, it was.
I do a bit of business up there in the islands, in the Scottish Islands. Yeah. Popular destination for Americans.
Anyway, yeah, it was fully Yanks, but yeah, I got up yesterday morning. I thought, right, we need some bloody graphics. It's halfway through the Ashes, and we still look like we came up with this idea 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I've tried to kind of improve us. I'm sure there's more improvement to come. So how long's gone now? First half an hour's gone. We've had some scares. We've put on some runs.
That was a howler of a decision, by the way.
What do you mean it was a howler?
He's a massive edge then.
I know, but
smashed it
at the pace. At the pace that these lads ball,
10 years ago, he's out.
Yeah, I know. I always think
gone.
Where would we be if we got Smith and Labuschagne and they overturned some decisions recently, haven't they? Sometimes I wish DRS.
You say it's not Murray Erasmus. I wish he was Murray Erasmus.
Why?
That's not a howler.
Yeah. Who do you reckon is the best umpire? I think Erasmus.
Michael
is
Goff.
Right. You think?
India have been told not to review his decisions because he got a ridiculous accuracy.
I do like that from Conor Eamon. That came in a couple of minutes ago. Stokes limping, big innings pending. I do think there is an element of this with Stokes. He seems to get into a mindset of he's a bit like Gerrard, isn't he? Who used to play for Liverpool. Is
obviously.
In case anyone was thinking, I was thinking of some French bowls player.
Come
on. He needs to get into a mindset of kind of the world's against him, and then he'll kind of perform.
Do you know, when you played a game and you used an excuse? So I was you beat me at tennis, but I had a bad wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, like that. Do you think Stokes leans on his injury a little bit to sort of almost say well, I'm out, but you're not really got me out because I've got a bad leg, a bad knee? I
think in some ways, when he's up against it, when he's injured, when he's cropped, like Connor says, he seems to be able to focus a bit better.
Yeah.
He doesn't try and do a million things. I think sometimes the thing is about Stokes is he's got that many clubs in the bag. He tries to do. Oh God! I get scared, mate.
I'm a bit relaxed with the sound off. Do you know what I mean?
Shut up.
What?
I don't like positive conversation like that.
Why?
I'm feeling a bit relaxed with the sound off.
I enhance your life.
You don't.
I actually do.
You don't.
You'd be significantly more miserable if I didn't exist.
When you were on the minutes this morning,
yeah,
right, stuck in traffic.
Iron Man Bolton, yeah.
And you're saying that you weren't getting pastries. Honestly, it brings nothing but stress to my life.
I bought these for you.
Yeah. All I was thinking was, if we're not on by 11:10, it'll be over. We need to see we need to call the last
we've actually.
rights.
I'd like to announce we've had our record tune-ins. I think.
What did we get up to?
We got up to that. It's unprofessional to sort of talk about numbers.
Yeah.
But we're in some serious double digits though.
Wow.
Did you not see?
Yeah, I did. I think I saw 18 at one point, which is.
Yeah. I've got a very high suspicion this Jim Jason's Lewis Hill.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think it's either Lewis Hill.
Yeah.
Daniel Rushton.
Yeah.
Or
it's not really Rush's humour, that.
Yeah, but it's the alliteration, Chris Coxon, and all the rest of it's gone down the years.
Yeah, funny. England 140 for 4, Stokes 41, Duckett 64. So far, so good. I had to wait for that delivery. How are you feeling? When are you going to start believing?
Well, if these two get to 220, 4,
You'll sing Elvis.
I'll be just starting to come round to it. It's a
Okay.
long way away, that.
Okay.
Because yesterday I was thinking, I think Root and Duckett, would Root and Duckett have been in at the time? Yeah, I think when Root and Duckett were in, I was thinking, if we could get to 110 for 2 here, we've got a chance. And then every time you start to think like that, it crumbles away. So the question I asked you earlier in the week was, is Bazball built on sand? We started to see, obviously day 2 and day 3 were days of utter misery for me. Crisis pending. How do you feel? Is it built on sand? Is it just is it a bad team masquerading?
No, I think this team could probably, whoever rocks up next summer, I think it's West Indies, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suspect England will be back in the driving seat. They'll elaborate this form of cricket. It'll be like nothing ever happened. It's just, we told you. It's just we have met our match, I think, haven't we?
Yeah, I think it's a reality check, isn't it? Because you can't beat the best if they're better than you, really, no matter what you play. We could play Root's form, Stokes' form, if they're just better than us.
Just a few more comments. Josh McGreevy, good pal of ours, he's put no chance of winning. There's another guy. There's another guy who doesn't believe.
I don't think anybody who knows cricket should believe at this point.
Why? What's the point in playing them?
Obviously,
should we declare?
No, you're hoping on a miracle.
Declare, shake hands, lose.
This would be.
Didn't we chase down something daft against India last year?
Yeah, but we didn't. We weren't 140 odd for 4. India hadn't been playing cricket, had they? They just rocked up for one test.
Yeah. One thing about Australia, one potential weakness is they get a bit flappy when things aren't going their way. Yeah. So at least what I want is a very much of a consolation. If none of you, if I'm not allowed to say we can win this, and everyone goes on at me, I'd like to rattle them at least.
I think the one advantage that we have still, that we had on day 2 and we didn't take advantage of it then, is without Lyon, there is potential to put some miles in their legs. So that's why we do need to take it deep. I mean, look at Cummins here now.
Yeah.
He's only bowled 11 overs.
Yeah.
We need to get him bowling 25 overs.
Tire him out.
To take it deep.
The spin, like you say, not having Lyons, it'll tie them out. But I suspect Travis Head might bowl if you want to bring Smith on. Josh McGreevy, a fine electrician, by the way. Maybe you need anything lights putting up or anything like that, you know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bit of free marketing
Jim
for
Jason, first genuine contribution of the day.
Yeah. Welcome to the room, Jim.
As the short ball ploy come out yet?
I think that they're trying, but the pitch seems to have died a little, I think.
I am.
Stark's been pitching it up, hasn't he?
It is interesting that after the way that the whole game's gone so far, Australia have almost reverted back to playing normal cricket.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that we've not seen that yet, because I suppose Stokes did have a bit of short pitch bowling from Green yesterday afternoon in the evening session.
Yeah.
And did look like he struggled with it with his knee. So there's definitely potential. I don't think Duckett plays the short ball very well. It's almost like Australia here are just kind of doing Test cricket a bit of a favour, keeping us in it.
Yeah.
What's Josh McGreevy saying there? Go on.
1 wicket and they'll just go for us, hot knife through butter almost.
I do agree with that.
He's got a point.
We've got to be perfect, haven't we?
Yeah, everything's got to go our way.
This is if we win from this position, it's far bigger an achievement than Headingley, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I had a look at him yesterday and Headingley was so much closer by the time we had 4 down.
What did we chase at Hell? Was it 318 or something like
359,
that? 359. So it's an even bigger total than last time, isn't it?
And I just think Headingley, a lot of teams have chased big totals on Headingley recently. You don't do that at Lords.
It could be one of those conspiracies, where like WWE, where it's all staged.
I wish it was.
And Australia are actually going, well, it'll make sense. We'll let you win this one, then you've got to do that. And maybe they've made some compromises.
Save you for Test cricket.
Yeah.
Well, this team talk about how they're for entertainment, and maybe that's what they actually mean. Maybe they're telling us.
Pat Cummins is obviously a big advocate of Test cricket as well. And I think he feels they've got a responsibility, Australia as well, to continue, putting forward quality performances. Well, he hated when he won that. He says, we all love Test cricket. We've grown up with it. It's here to stay. So that they're all, I know you like to obviously forecast the death of Test cricket quite a lot, but I still feel in England and Australia, there is a lot of passion for this particular format. Yeah, by far, by some distance.
Yeah, definitely. When the Ashes is on, everybody watches it, really, don't they? If you're a sports fan, it's a bit like when Wimbledon's on.
Yeah,
is everyone tunes in. Non-cricket fans taking interest. The crowds are obviously packed. It's a sellout for the whole 5 Test matches. It's brilliant.
I think England could fill bigger grounds, me.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Test
definitely.
cricket. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We could fill the MCG. You know, if the MCG was in London, you'd fill
I
it.
like the idea of they were talking about hosting maybe an ODI match at West Ham's ground.
Yeah, they've been doing baseball there, haven't they, recently?
Yeah. You said baseball was crap, didn't you?
I did. It was all right. It's not. I thought it was like T20.
Yeah.
And it's like a 6-hitting contest.
Mhm.
But I went watching the Mets versus, I can't remember who they play. But
clearly a memorable moment for you.
I don't know. I'm not going to guess.
Waste of time.
It's a lot more similar to Test cricket than you would think in terms of there's a lot more strategy. There's a lot more tactics of attrition.
We covered this in a podcast, didn't we, once? To me, you know, like the whole basis of like baseball is the hot word is home run. But I was told by someone who watches a lot of baseball that actually very rarely happens.
Yeah, no, it does.
It like,
yeah, I think there was one home run when I went watching it in the whole day.
So is it like obviously there's no boundaries, so is it just like singles?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just like knocking it around singles. Yeah,
you know,
it's very attritional.
Right.
So Jim Jason, making a little bit of an amends for his behaviour earlier in the stream, says that he could listen to us all day. Great coverage again. Lads.
Oh, cheers, Jim.
So yeah.
We're still not going to kiss though. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
you know, if maybe you know, if they win,
if England get the run, you know,
stay tuned.
Yeah. You can taste Alan's chicken.
Yeah, I can smell the alcohol in your breath.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes me quite conscientious.
Yeah. Conscientious. What's that?
Is that the right word?
No, I don't think so. That means like when you're like gracious.
Oh, all right.
You think of people.
All right. I do think
conscious. Do you mean self-conscious?
Self-conscious, yeah.
There we go.
Sorry, I've killed a few brain cells yesterday. What was that?
He does play some odd shots.
It was like Darth Maul then.
Did you see the shot that he played to for that fateful catch of non-catch from Stark?
Yeah.
It was a really bad shot. He's wafting.
Yeah.
He's flicking it. Both feet off the ground. All the men back. I think there's just a little... Duck, it seems like one of those players now who... You'd have this with Warner earlier in his career. Is he can obviously score runs against quality bowling. He can be aggressive against quality bowling. It's about just finding the balance now to make sure he can score big runs against quality bowling.
For sure.
Obviously got 98 the other day. If he goes on and makes that 150...
He's had a superb test match, whatever happens.
Yeah. No.
Again, Australia cutting all the boundaries off.
But...
Steve Smith.
If you just tick it over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like this ticker tape thing you've done, by the way, on the if it's the first time you join us, guys, please like, subscribe, follow, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. But you've got kind of like a ticker tape coming here, like you do on Sky Sports News, you know, like George Bottomley released with immediate effect.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Breaking news.
I didn't know about that when I was putting on. I was really questioning whether to keep that on. But
I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
We can gloss it up a little bit.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of touching.
I feel like I'm going to see like West Bromwich Albion 1. Stoke City 2 in a minute.
What's our catchphrase saying these days? What's that? Tackling. I can't actually read it.
Two cricket lovers talking the biggest topics, moving the conversation.
I think it says talking to cricket lovers, tackling the biggest topics and moving the conversation. I can't remember. We've got something in the way of it.
Yeah, the eye. That says how many people are watching us.
Listen, watch, subscribe, and comment. I've said so.
Nice.
I suppose to everyone who's
a marketeer now, aren't you?
Yeah, anybody who's watching, if you subscribe and comment, that is really helpful to us.
Yeah, it is. Proper appreciated.
We need all the help that we can get, clearly.
Of course. There's some big competition in cricket, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's some big budgets being floated around. You know what I mean? In comparison to our measly shoestring budget.
I think
some people go all out, don't they?
Yeah, obviously.
I want to make this clear that this is just a modest hobby for me and you, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's
we are just two working men who like cricket, who like talking. If you're in that circle, join us.
Yeah. It's every 4 years the Ashes comes around in England, doesn't it? It's great summer for.
I've been really worried about you the last couple of days because you've been really upset about this. Haven't you?
I have been really angry. I do get. Everyone's been talking about 2005, and thankfully, that's kind of started to die off.
Every time there's a test match, it's 2005, isn't it?
I do think there is a little bit of Sky trying to will that into existence.
Yeah.
You know, if we say it enough, it might happen.
I actually think the last series in England was close to contest with in terms of Ashes series.
See, I think that this series is very similar to 2019.
We're always just not quite there, you know what I mean?
there's times where we look like we've got them on the ropes and
Yeah.
we chuck it away. I think that's very similar. We
Yeah,
lost
yeah.
the first match in Edgbaston in 2019. Lords was a draw, but we didn't particularly play well. Headingley, it looked like we'd thrown it away, and then Stokes dragged us back into it.
Mhm.
And then at Old Trafford, we were just never in it, were we? Smith and Labuschagne were awful to watch. From an English
Mitchell
perspective.
Starks just took up a right bit of turf there when he
Yeah.
dived. Is that outfield pretty wet?
I don't know. Yeah,
Stokes nearing towards 50. He's repairing his divots like a good golfer.
Yeah.
Do you repair your divots?
I've told you I've not played golf in years.
You went playing holiday in France, or you went on holiday a few years ago.
it was
Did
like
you
a
repair your
year ago.
divots?
Yeah. Why
Good.
not?
You need to. It's pretty crass if you don't.
I think I don't know. I don't think I'm good enough to even take a divot. Just thinning it along.
Oh, dry, like hot fairway. Desperate for water.
Bare fairway.
Oh, it's grim.
Me thinning it along.
Lou, obviously, a good pal of ours, he absolutely hates chipping when the ground's bare. He really struggles to take a divot. He's a good golfer as well.
Yeah.
He can't bear it. You know what I mean? Got another question.
Oh, that's
the spade.
The spade, yes.
Remember
Back in the
Bott's
day.
divots, the spade.
Yeah, I used to take out some.
You learned that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I used to take
I don't know why you never properly applied yourself at golf.
I don't know. I think it's just an uphill struggle, isn't it? I don't have to think I have the.
It's one of those sports where if you you kind of play it and then you think because you play other sports it'll be easy, and you soon realise it's extremely difficult.
I'm not particularly a sportsman by any stretch, but I think with golf you need to be a decent sportsman.
Just a miserable git, aren't you?
Mental resilience, and clearly from the pessimism that I'm showing as we watch this slow march to death of this Ashes series. I do not have the mental resilience for golf.
I tell you who does have mental resilience. Ben Stokes, who just brought up his 50.
Yeah.
I think he's due a performance. Would you say, is that fair to say? When I say he's due a performance, I don't mean he doesn't owe England anything. You know, he's plenty of time to bail this out. But I think in his own standards, he's due a big score. Do you get what I mean?
We need a big score from him, don't we? We need hundreds from him to be a proper side.
Yep.
There was a bit of a thing last summer, weren't there, where he seemed to be giving his wicket away left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Seems to be doing less of that this summer, which is beneficial for all England fans and the England team in general. So can't argue with that. But we need him to keep going here.
We've had an internal sort of an external sort of comment from Ned, an Australian. Your take on the English commentators being partial is because you agree with them. They are just as bad as most other commentators. Obviously, McGrath's extreme, but he plays up to it. I don't think we're actually. I disagree there.
Sorry, say that again.
He says, get the words up. Your take on the English commentators being impartial is because you agree with them. They are just as bad as most other commentators. Obviously, McGrath's extreme, but he plays up to it. I really don't believe that.
I think McGrath is like...
No, I mean, he's saying like your Nassers of the world and Michael Aberton. I really don't.
McGrath is like talk sport level commentary, isn't he? Like his reaction...
Cheap shots here and there.
His reaction to that catch last night is a bit over the top.
What did he do? I didn't see it.
He just, overly emotive, saying how it's a joke. I think at one point he said, if that England had taken that catch, it would have been out. So he's questioning the integrity of the umpiring. I think that's a bit low. I don't think anyone wants that.
They've got a real ego problem, that Australian generation.
I think there were one commentator that I thought always was obviously greatly supported the Australian side and obviously wanted them to win. But really loved the game was Warren. I think Warren had a level of impartiality.
Brilliant. I really miss Shane Warne.
Almost
a
naive impartiality of just his love for the game and love for watching brilliant cricket meant that, Stokes' Headingley performance, Warren loves it, Love to see competitive cricket.
Did you hear the Ishigua? What she said after that test match? No. Shane Warne offered them a lift back to London from Headingley, and apparently he bombed it down the motorway, went through loads of speed cameras, and smelt a packet of fags.
Oh crap! That was
a
bad shot.
Yeah,
I can imagine it. He was a real character, wasn't he?
Lived a rich lifestyle, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did at least the lasagna sandwiches.
Did it?
Yeah.
I think going back to the comment on commentators, I think Nasser and others, they feel pretty impartial. I'll take that away. Peterson's obviously a bit of a shock jock.
You've grown to like Peterson, haven't you?
I think Peterson, to be fair, I started to do the role that Warne did in terms of being a bit more lively, loving cricket, I suppose, being the commentator for the fan who doesn't want, a million stats a minute.
Yeah, he was kind of right the other day when he gave England a bollocking.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was right. I found it hard to disagree with him, did you?
I think...
Do you just want to tell people who missed that what they actually said?
So...
I can try and do a South African accent if you want.
No, don't do South African accent. Right, let me pull up what I said, my summary to you, and you just fill in for a second.
Okay. State of play, 161 for 4. Stokes on 50, Duckett 74. Really good test match of him. Josh Hazelwood into the attack. Hazelwood doesn't seem as potent on these pitches.
Why do you do this to me?
Why?
I can't. You can't say stuff like that because they'll get a wicket.
I don't know
what.
I'm quite superstitious though.
You don't sound it.
Yeah.
He said
this is a swing ball.
That is like I think it's a lacrosse
or is it
ball.
is it for your like your anger issues?
I don't know where it's come from. It's a lacrosse ball, but I do lob up some off spinners in here sometimes.
Name the delivery.
Cross seamer, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I never bowled
plenty of them. Right, so Peterson absolutely blasted England at tea. It's not a friendly. It's the Ashes. England need to wake up. And
you weren't pleased about how the fact that the batters were waiting for England to come on the field. You know what? Vaughan was a big mentality person, wasn't he? About these fine margins, like launching the ball into the wicketkeeper every time, being intimidating, showing the right body language. Stokes' England do possess that like laid back sort of thing. Look at the coach, but you see McCullum on the balcony. He's ready for a sleep.
Yeah,
he's like this, isn't he?
I do think there was a level of complacency when we came into this series, because I must admit, I think reality has sunk in again, and you saw McCullum looking like that at Edgbaston, but he don't look like that this week at Lords. There's a bit more of kind of a furrowed brow.
Can I ask you a question about McCullum? This might seem ridiculous. If England lose this series 5-0, is his job at stake?
I don't think so, no. I think that Barney Ronnie has been saying it recently. I think it's always he's right. Is
it the Guardian writer?
Yes.
Head of sport for the Guardian?
Yeah. There's almost a cult-like status at the moment in English cricket with Bazball, this approach.
Mm-hmm.
You almost can't question it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not open for criticism. No matter what, we must march on over the top.
And the people are very... I saw Gary Lineker, almost like... He's always got a lot to say, Gary Lineker, but he's almost the same, like, he's trying to educate people, saying, listen, they're going to make mistakes, but it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Almost trying to reinvent people's thinking on cricket.
Yeah.
And how they judge good and bad.
One thing that I'd say, if we do a comparison to 2005...
Yeah.
Is...
Don't eat that.
If you look at 2005, we had 4 90-mile-per-hour... No, we had 3 90-mile-per-hour bowlers.
Is that right, though?
Harmison, Flintoff and Simon Jones all bowled 90-mile-an-hour.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did know they did. Really did. They were proper quick bowlers, them 3.
You love Simon Jones, didn't you?
Yeah, he was...
Is he your favourite ever?
He was as quick as Wood, Simon Jones.
Like, I don't think so.
No, he was.
No, that's exaggerating.
He
was not 94 miles an hour. No one... I think Wood's England's quickest ever bowler.
He might be, but Simon Jones was a quick, skiddy reverse swing bowler.
If you're watching, please will you tell us that Simon Jones was not 94 miles per hour? Please, someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think he's right.
Let's see if I can get that up. But Simon Jones was a 90-mile-per-hour bowler. Harmison obviously was steep bounce. So we had an aggressive bowling lineup.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have this with these lot. And I don't know whether there's something that we need to go around and say, right, where do we get some pace from? Because another thing that we need to ask ourselves is, if you look at Stark, Hazelwood and Cummins, there's no way England would keep those bowlers fit for as long as... We'd
bowl them into the ground, wouldn't we?
Yeah. What was the route Silverwood era doing when mid 80s?
He's right. See, I've been vindicated.
I don't know who Jim Jason is, but he's wrong though.
He's not.
Sorry, go on. Yeah, I think we need to find some fast bowlers. We need to find a way of keeping them fit.
I might replace you with Jim Jason.
Yeah, it might be better, to be honest.
You just can be like technical support if you like, and bring the pastries.
Bring the pastries, do the graphics.
No, he seems quite upbeat, so maybe he's not. I like the balance between optimism and pessimism.
Yeah, so if he's upbeat, all you're going to get is 2 upbeat.
That's good. I might enjoy myself more. I would miss this attic, though, and this lovely infrastructure we've got. Did we decide if our colours are orange or red? I'm colourblind, so I need your help with this one.
It's orange, that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 100% orange. However, we were on a train one time with an Indian cricket fan, and he said red. So maybe I'm the colourblind one.
Could be. Illuminati.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Bott?
Right, 40 more, 60 more runs we need before I start thinking.
Before we lose a wicket. We can't lose a wicket, can we?
Can't lose a wicket for at least 60 more
Bairstow's shot was disappointing as well, wasn't it?
Bairstow.
Completely holed out, didn't he?
He just never gives you it, does he? I think that's the problem with this England side is, did he give you it when the chips are down? Do we have a Collingwood?
I really thought he turned a corner last year, Bairstow. You know, like really rising to the occasion. I expected similar moments in this series. I know we're only 2 tests in, so maybe I'm being a bit overcritical. But you kind of need him here today, don't you? You've got this theory that Bairstow kind of won us that Headingley test match in some ways, don't you?
Well, yeah, I think Bairstow was kind of a bit of a forgotten man in that. I'm going to give up on trying to prove that Simon Jones is fast. Bairstow
Cam Green's getting some bounce here, isn't he?
Yeah, Bairstow was the forgotten man in that innings, I think. He gave us about 33. It was a bit like what Butler did in the 2019 World Cup. He's just getting the momentum going, getting us scoring some runs quickly, taking the target down a little bit, or the deficit to the target down a little bit. And sometimes you need that kind of, but you don't need that now. Sometimes you need the counter-attacking innings to get you those 50 runs quickly that get you under 100 or whatever. But we need big runs right now. And if you got Bairstow in with 120 to go, and he can give you 40, 30.
Which tail end are you banking on? Because it's likely we're going to need to rely on a tail end. No, but if England are to win this, they're likely going to need a tail ender. Some, like a Jack Leach kind of thing.
I think that is the problem.
Leach probably has the best ability to stick around, doesn't he?
So there are parallels.
Call back Jack Leach, can't he?
Yeah. We all remember having that's what he's kept. And I suppose he got 97 at Lords.
He's done it a few times. I think in the West Indies he got a few runs as well, didn't he?
He's similar to Lyon in that respect. He looks terrible, but he is gritty and stick around. I suppose the one parallel you would say about this Test match to Headingley is Headingley. I think our 4 bowlers were Broad, Archer, Leach, and Anderson. I think maybe Wokes was there. So we had a longer batting lineup because Anderson was injured, wasn't he?
I was laughing at the Lords members. They're like robots, aren't they?
Yeah.
I didn't think these people existed until we went to Lords, and they sort of just brush past you, don't they?
That's the problem with having a chase like this at Lords, though, as well, is you're going to get zero help from the fans.
They'll chase this down. They'll probably just get a clap, won't they?
They're just not asked.
Someone said it to me yesterday. Someone who doesn't follow cricket as much. One of the lads. He said, "Lords is weird. They kind of just want everyone to do well, don't they?"
What do you reckon the average age is?
I really enjoyed Lords. I must admit. I think the average age must be 60.
Yeah,
that's proper old money territory, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the worst. I actually,
you're one of these, aren't you? I know you take a bit of offence to wealth and privilege, don't you? But it is the makeup of the place, the fabric of the place.
No, it's a great venue. It's brilliant. It's steeped in history.
Yeah,
it's similar to where
follow the jacket and tie, all that kind of stuff.
Similar to where we talk about the Oval. These things are kind of. When does the Oval? When does Lords date back to the 1800s?
Yeah,
it's incredible, really. That pavilion was there in the first Lords. The first Lords Ashes.
Yeah, it's got a fucking slope.
But I always think in the Ashes we just can't play at Lords because we just play terribly. These lot are brilliant at Lords.
Yeah,
we need to write it off.
International teams, teams of different nationality love coming to Lords as well, don't they? They proper raise the game. It has to be. Someone said the other day, though, we need to scrap Lords and play all the Test matches at the Oval, Headingley, Edgbaston, all the northern drinking grounds. You know what I mean? But you can't. It's just
better wickets though as well.
I know, mate, but you've got to do it. You've got to take it as is. You've got to raise your game a bit. Hopefully,
we've got this fella walking up the steps.
Oh man, I don't think he's old money. I just think he's just a nice old man that just likes his cricket. Stop picking on him.
I'm not picking on him. It's just the absurdity of cricket sometimes, isn't it? It's what kind of sport?
I say in my office
stuff like that
because they know I'm heavily invested into the cricket, and I have Eastern European colleagues, and I have different nationalities, and they try and take interest in cricket for me and just say England. And then the minute someone asks me to explain, I just say, look, we'll waste each other's time here because you won't understand it, and I won't be able to articulate in a way that should make you understand. For instance, I can't justify why that we can have 5 days about a result. I cannot give you a viable reason that will make sense to you.
I'm in this horrible position these days at work now where my whole personality, where you tell...
Are you the cricket guy?
Yeah, you tell one person something about your
cricket
life and that becomes
you. Yeah.
And now every time there's a call, the only question I'll get is, George, how's the cricket going? I need to. Yeah.
Almost like you're responsible for the performance.
Yeah,
isn't it? You have to
you're like some kind of your workplace's cricket correspondent.
Yeah.
You know, to update everybody.
Be a great job, that, wouldn't it? Cricket correspondent at work.
Yeah.
Can I ask? I'm presuming Nathan Lyon isn't fielding.
No, he's out of the series.
He'll be in his place. It'll be the opener, won't he? Marcus Harris, probably.
No,
He's Marcus Harris, is it?
Thingy's come on. The one who could have played for England.
Steve Smith.
Renshaw.
Yeah. He's a maybe. He's a nearly man, isn't he? He always seems to be.
He bats at 6 now. He used to open, didn't he? But now he's
he had a tough time in England, didn't he?
Batting at 6. He's played a lot of cricket, a lot of county cricket in England, but he doesn't seem to have been able to master it at the Test level. I think that's the case for both of these sides. As some of the more experienced players move on, what's genuinely underneath in terms of kind of building a quality Test side to go forward. I think we've got some decent youngsters. Jamie Smith for Surrey, very good batsman. Dan Lawrence obviously has moved to Surrey recently.
I'm never really concerned about England producing pace bowlers and good keepers and batsmen. My worry is with spinners.
Yeah.
I think we've got to work harder to get more spinners progressing through. Although you could argue with T20 cricket, it's becoming more popular now to bowl spin, I think.
Yeah,
because it gives you that. I think if I had to define cricket over the last 20 years, or certainly the time in which me and you have been involved, I'd say that spinning become a lot more popular, and I'd say that T20 cricket's obviously enhanced that.
Where do you think Rehan Ahmed sits in terms of kind of selection for this series? Could you see him?
I really could. I think if it gets to the stage where, certainly if England lose the third test, let's presume they lose this, then they lose the third test. I think they might just go, why not? Give him some Australian sort of experience. It would make sense at that point, isn't it? I hope we don't get to that sort of scenario, but I have to sort of. Oh God, this sound's not doing me any good. But I keep thinking I can't hear anything. I thought he played on there.
You said it was making you calm.
Now it's not. Now as we get closer to the 200, it's not.
Yeah.
It's felt a long time getting here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a long day if we do this. Yeah. It's 200. It's still miles away.
Yeah.
You've got to break it down into little bits, haven't you? You've got to get 220 for 4, and you've got to say, right, what's the new number?
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you now. 220.
That's what they do, don't they? They have like small targets, don't they? Like 180, 220. Like certain times of the day. Me and you would be useless in that scenario, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm heavily neurotic with stuff like this.
Yeah. I used to sweat buckets batting me. I think it was a mixture of anxiety, nerves, and this like general inability that I knew.
Yeah, I'm dubious of that, but I can say from my own perspective, I did not last long enough to get sweaty by it.
It was so funny when we played cricket. We had a natural sort of pattern, didn't we? Of me batting with you, then me getting out, then you having natural partners. I think we had a few stands together, didn't we?
Yeah, 10 or 11.
Hey, the winning runs against Bradshaw, that was cool.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a controversial match. That.
Yeah. Do you see? I did the balcony punch as well.
Did someone run someone out, but then it was given not out by our coach?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. But Bradshaw were a good side at that time, weren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know why we're talking about Bolton League cricket at the moment, but
rest in peace.
It were good fun those days, weren't they? Under 15s, under 18s.
Good times, pal.
So then, we are an hour into the morning session.
Mm-hmm.
It's been nerve-wracking stuff so far, more due to circumstance than anything that's gone on in the first hour. I think that it's just you've got to continue like this at the moment, haven't you? You've got to bleed the runs, got to tick it over.
I'm looking for small wins, pal. So if England can't win this Test match, what can we take? Positives from Duckett's performance. I think I'd like Duckett to get 100 at the very least. I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
Stokes' form, perhaps.
I suppose the one thing that's always been put towards Duckett is, can he play quality pace bowling? Now, these aren't the fastest pitches in the world. It's not Perth. It's not the Gabba. But these lot are quick. And they've got a lot of good players out. And he's shown that he can get runs against them. So that is one positive that I'll agree with you on.
Yeah.
I think Josh Tong's been a positive. I think he bowled incredibly well yesterday. He looks like a bowler who can bowl long spells. I think he shows really, I don't think he even looks that good. He's not Mark Wood, Jofra Archer bursting on the scene, but he shows that we need a little bit more pace.
It doesn't seem. I don't know if I'm just looking at it, but coming from Worcestershire, is it?
Yeah, Worcester.
Worcestershire and fast, like brutal bowlers don't seem to go
no.
hand in hand. Do they? I always think you get like a friendly little, opening batsman. Or
He's averaged 45 in the County Championship this year, so he's
Right.
been plucked from obscurity, really.
yeah.
We've obviously just seen something in him.
The pace, isn't it? Yeah.
They do these depth charts. Obviously, we spoke to Mobo about earlier in the year.
Good interview.
He talked about the kind of performance development that they do in the depth charts.
Yeah.
He's clearly been one who's been on a depth chart from a pace perspective. Stone, the other day, bowled 3 balls and walked off.
That's one thing I'd like to ask you about. A lot of people ask me the question a lot, Bott. They say, who's got pace? Who can we bring into the squad who's got pace? We know about Mark Wood. We know about Ollie Stone.
Yeah.
Are there any other players out there we could look at who've got genuine pace? Saki Mahmood, obviously.
So we're not going to see Archer in whites again, are we, really?
I don't think so, mate.
So we can rule him out. Stone, I think, is getting to a point now where it seems like he's probably going to be another Tamal Mills. Probably focus on 4-over spells. Not going to see him. I think Wood is the one who can probably still do it at test level. Saki Mahmood can get 85 miles an hour, can swing it around a bit, skiddy. Probably more likely to be a young James Anderson type of bowler than a genuine, proper quick bowler. There is Jamie Overton, who can bat a bit.
Decent test debut, didn't he, last year? Yeah.
Did well for us. I think he's another injury basket case.
It's very harsh. Basket case.
I know, but some of them are just sick notes, aren't they? A lot of our fastballs are just utter sick
Is it even good for the body, bowling? I don't even. It's an abnormal movement, obviously, isn't it?
I think it seems like it's one. Oh shit! Now that looks like a run out. No, it's not.
You just judge it by Warner's body language, don't you? He's a great fielder, Warner.
Yeah, these lot are a much better fielder side than we are.
They just take opportunities. Like we squander them so much.
Who's in the squad? Matty Potts can bowl about 83. He can get it up to 85, can't he?
He's been unfortunate not to be in the side. Potts. It's interesting to see what he would have brought the difference. Who's this chap with dreadlocks?
I don't know. Who he is at all. Usually they get younger. They kind of get like ECB academy players and like youth development players into the side, don't they?
Yeah.
For 12-man duties and bringing it. This is a real time now, though. We always say it. Drinks.
Yeah. We switch off all the time.
Ducky got out.
I even said it to you, didn't I? I said I worry about us after drinks. So it's a bad sort of stigma with the side, that isn't it?
Yeah.
Always happens.
It's
Let's hope it doesn't happen now. Obviously.
Well, it would just be absolute classic England, and you can't. Like we said that all morning, you've got to be perfect here. You can't lose a wicket now. It's gone.
If you just joined us, we've noticed a few more viewers onto our channel. This is a second live stream we've done from the Ashes. We want to continue to do these, come good, bad, ugly.
Yeah.
You can see from the fine sort of banner that Bott has produced that we are available on Spotify, YouTube, and you can follow our socials on Twitter mainly. Isn't that right?
Instagram, yeah.
And Instagram, yeah. If you are more of a graphics and imagery sort of person, or if you want to hear my tweets.
Go on, me and Nino always do this for service stations, rank them, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter.
You do this for service stations?
Yeah, so when you go past service station, it's got like Mackey's, Greg's,
Costa.
Okay. You got to rank them.
Yeah.
Rank Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. What's your favourite social?
I love Twitter.
Right,
I think
Twitter's number one.
It's great humour and it's great for information as well.
I think we're going to be complete opposites on this.
I think Spotify is the best thing I buy every month.
Yeah,
it's the most used thing that I own.
Yeah.
I think I don't use YouTube a lot.
No, we're the complete opposite.
I'd go Instagram than YouTube. I'm not one of these people that goes down rabbit holes and like you're into this, aren't you?
So I'd go YouTube top. I could sit.
Do you go down rabbit holes?
I watch them. I've watched films.
Yeah.
In 5-minute clips.
Yeah.
In the wrong order.
That's really weird. Yeah. That's really weird.
Nina's family say it's psychotic.
It is psychotic.
Serial killer behavior.
Like, do you want the Human Centipede?
So I'll just start watching something like I don't know, Catch Me If You Can, and I'll watch like the first 5 minutes, like episode 12 out of 15.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch it in the wrong order by accident. Anyway, so I'd go YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I hate it. I hate the layout of it. I think that I've got to the top of the page and I'm reading the most up to date tweets, and it'll be talking about Edgbaston Test like 4 days ago.
What's going on here?
It's just highlights, mate.
What was Ducky not out or?
This was yesterday.
All right, I didn't see it. Sorry.
This is Stark.
Oh.
Stark were giving him a bit of words.
What was the problem?
So Stark felt that Duckett should have walked, and Duckett kind of said, "Well, it's not my fault. They called me back. The fourth umpire, third umpire's giving it not out. What can I do?"
Was it a no ball? I'm taking.
No, it was that catch.
Oh, right, okay.
The catch that we've been talking about all morning.
Yeah. You do have to bear with me. I do have a life outside cricket.
I know you have a life outside cricket, but we have spoken about it quite at length.
There's no sound, so it's a little bit, it's hard to piece together sometimes.
I think we'll put it down to kind of your current state this morning.
Okay. I think I'm fine.
You're all right. You're all right.
Were you worried about me this morning?
To be honest, I wasn't worried that you were going to be.
I'm having nightmares about Alan's chicken.
I wasn't worried.
You've been there?
Yeah. I wasn't worried that you weren't going to turn up. I was just worried about your timekeeping.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the alcohol, it's the timekeeping, Rob.
Don't worry. I was here, though.
Yeah,
come rain or shine. Josh Hazelwood back into the attack.
No short stuff yet. I agree with that question.
No, Cam Green's been delivering some short stuff.
Not like that kind of real, start coming in Hazelwood. We haven't seen the tactics that England went with of just purely drying up the runs. Because England really did dry up the runs yesterday.
The wickets started to tumble yesterday, didn't they? Did you notice the sort of when you're watching it, like because the first, when they first came out for these for this innings. When they first came out for this innings, there wasn't loads happening for the bowlers, but then they switched the tactics to Australia's kind of short ball theory. And I noticed the wicket started to tumble. Did you notice a seismic change with how Australia were handling it?
It did seem like it got to a level where good players like Smith and Khawaja were really in form.
Yeah,
were struggling with it. So it's clearly not just England being absolute kamikaze cricket.
Yeah.
And it did seem like, there is something in this pitch that if you bowl like that, it's hard to score runs.
Yeah.
I think that if England, say that England got to 250, I think that's all Australia will bowl. I think they'll just try and play
us a little bit.
Play on England's patience. Oh, I thought I was going for 4 then.
That's another thing you don't always sound. Quite likes that fielding position, Travis Head, doesn't he? On the outer boundary.
They asked, I suppose, as we speak, we've seen a few more short balls.
It's not really Hazelwood's game, this though, is it?
I find it really stressful cricket.
Yeah, I do.
Like genuinely.
You're starting to believe it, aren't you?
No, yeah. 220.
That's the coffee. You're going to get the heebies.
Oh God. Yeah, it's grim. It's a grim sport.
Like you then when they were running, you just went, "Oh my God."
Oh, for God's sake. There it is. After drinks, duck it. We said it. Do you know what I always do here in this situation?
Please be a no ball.
Yeah, I do. I pray for that now where he looks back and the umpire calls him.
It's the short ball to duck it again, isn't
it? Burstow won't last. This will be over now before lunch. I know. Right. I know, but we needed. What are you doing?
Oh. It's a good take as well.
It's probably a wide that as well,
If you There's been a few wides given, hasn't there? Oh man, this might be where Josh McGreevy's theory comes true.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it? We needed to be perfect. We needed both of Stokes and Duckett to get a century.
He's absolutely gutted there, isn't he?
But it's after drinks. It's classic England.
Johnny Bairstow. After that, we'll have Ollie Robinson. And then we'll have Broad, I'm guessing.
I think Broad comes out before Robinson at the moment.
I think all this, all this Nighthawk stuff. I think Broad's been found out there a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh dear! Come on, Johnny. God. We need you here.
I just don't back Bairstow in these situations.
I don't. No. I suppose.
Do you know what? Yeah. Bairstow's similar to Matt Pryor used to be like that. If Matt Pryor would never, in this situation, win the game for you or save the game. But always when you were like 350 for 355, Pryor would come in and make it 470 quickly. Like they're just blue sky players. Oh God!
It's just the feeling a wicket brings, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's that.
It's the hope that kills you. We're still 40 away from where I told you. Now you've got to go for 270 for 5. You got to get to.
So you want to smile like a reptile.
Yeah, 93 runs these two have got to put on now before I start believing again. It's miles away. Oh, it's grim.
They short them.
I know. When you're chewing that, don't put microphone so close. It's like ASMR. ASMR, is that it? I don't know.
I hate losing to Australia.
I do. It's one of the only things in sport when I watch sport this where it really gets me. It's not a lie, to be fair. It's just, oh God.
It's a really good take, that.
It's a good take, but again, like, they'll just go in on the pads now with Johnny, won't they? They just go really straight to him. Yeah. That's the thing, though, isn't it, with Australia, is with this morning we had Cummins and Hazelwood. They've got an injured spinner, and then you've got Lyon. We had Cummins and Stark, and now next bowler's on.
They're so up for this as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They are so ready to win in England.
Because this creates a legacy for them. This completely, Ponting, Langer, all them, they start to have no leg to stand on in terms of legacy perspective if they win in England. Because Ponting as captain didn't win in England.
Yep.
It was war in 2001 the last time they won here, wasn't it?
So it's all we've ever known, England being imperious at home against Australia.
Yeah.
This is a big loss if they lose this series.
Yeah.
What England, what have you got? You've got Bairstow in now, Stuart Broad, Ollie Robinson, Josh Tong, James Anderson. It has to be these two, doesn't it, if anything?
What do you do now? Do you try and get those next 100 runs quickly, or do you try and get them?
I think they've got to continue with the way they were this morning.
Going,
yeah. I think when the tail enders come in, I think you'll see, more of a like a carte blanche approach. You know what I mean? Win-Viz has gone back in Australia's favour massively, 89% now. England with a glimmer at 10%. Yeah, it feels like a really big part of the game, that, doesn't it?
Yep.
It's one of those. England lost too many wickets last night, didn't they? For this to be realistic, if there was any hope, you'd have to have your Joe Roots needed to be taking it further. It was very, very reminiscent to the Headingley innings, wasn't it?
It just reminds me of this so much of 2019. Like we say, I've always been just a little bit behind the game in the crucial moments. This reminds me of the Old Trafford Test match. We went on day 5.
Yeah, we were hoping, weren't we?
And you're hoping, but realistically deep down that there's nothing.
That's when Nina called Bairstow John Bairstow.
Yeah, John Bairstow.
It's nothing wrong with it. It just makes him sound like a proper village cricketer, doesn't it?
Yeah. He does look... there are times with Bairstow, with like the way he wears his jumper and stuff. He does look like you'd see him up at Edgerton Cricket Club or something.
You'd see him playing for like Wakefield, wouldn't you? On like an overcast day.
Yeah.
Wakefield versus Selby or something like that. In the Yorkshire.
I mean, he's obviously a brilliant player. He's just never quite done it in tests, has he?
He had a glorious summer last summer, didn't he?
Yeah.
Where he put on some phenomenal displays. And if England had to win this game or anything like...
We need something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the one thing he'll be really fighting now, Bairstow, is does he go like he did last summer and try and score 120 off 70 balls? Or does he...
It's kind of all he knows, though, isn't it, mate? You don't see Bairstow blocking out, do you? You said that you felt that his contribution was like the impetus for Headingley, wasn't it?
Yeah. But he
kind of like how Josh Buttler did for the World Cup finals. You notice we were losing wickets quite quick, and Buttler came forward positively, didn't he, and smacked a few fours.
Yeah.
Do you wonder whether a Josh Buttler would have been under this regime good in this series?
I don't think so. I just don't think he ever did it.
He's in a right. He really ties himself in knots in test, doesn't he?
Yeah.
On what to do.
I think we've seen in this series is it's not necessarily that this new there's not been that much of a departure from the mean of how we play against Australia. They've still beaten us kind of over 2 test matches quite comfortably now.
Well, no, last test match wasn't comfortable.
See, I think the last hour, when I came in for the last hour, we were never bowling them out though.
Really?
How many chances did we get in that last 45 minutes against Cummins and Lyon?
Did Stokes drop line?
Stokes, it was a tough catch.
Did we drop a Carlton Bold as well?
Again, really tough catch.
This is the man, Cummins, isn't it? You feel that he's good in for it now? That's definitely a wide, surely.
England bowled a lot of that yesterday. I suppose they've got to be fair and make it even for both sides. 2019 Headingley scorecard. Let's see what we were at when. Johnny came in.
John Bairstow.
John Bairstow. So with the way that Stokes is playing, this is why I'd be really tempted to get him at 3 for if Pope's injured, because he can score like a normal Test player.
It felt like when he took the captaincy, it was like on the condition that he bats 6.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So Bairstow comes in 159 for 4 we were when he comes in, because he batted 6 that day. Butler was 7. So we were still, and he gets us to 253 for 245 for 5. So if you're thinking about a Headingley again, these two need to get us to an absolute minimum.
For sure.
250 for 5. It's
a
long
steep,
way away.
doesn't it? That
70 runs away.
I mean,
that.
3-7. I always think totals look bigger when you've less wickets. Just on the eye. You know what I mean? No. Take that with a pinch of salt. I've just said though, but at the start of the day, if there's 1 wicket down, you think, oh well, there's still legs in this. When the wicket's reduced, the target just seems further and further away.
Yeah.
And the run rate slows down. Everything becomes more difficult. Come on, Johnny.
I think the one thing that Johnny is good at in these situations, or has been good at in the past, is being busy. I think it's less about boundaries and more about quick singles. You've got to run them out. If they're going to have everybody out on the boundary, take your single opportunity.
The challenge is
2 opportunities.
Stokes doesn't seem up for running lows, does he?
True.
I can't believe I saw Lion yesterday. It was quite incredible to watch, really.
Oh yeah, it is like the walking moon. We said this.
You're right about the ploy, by the way, in terms of getting on Johnny's pads. He's flicked one way really well there for 4, but
it's all going to be.
It's just one miss, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'll bank on it. They know they've got runs in the bank. They know that they can just go there. If a couple go for 4, so be it. But if he just misses 1, they're in.
Catcher at mid wicket, straight mid wicket. Catcher at mid on. Just wait for him to plink one up like he did in the first innings. Just ball at his pads. Yeah.
Talking about anger and getting pissed off and stressed. Yeah. I was eating my lunch at work at the desk, and I let out the biggest fucking hell when I saw Bairstow do that on the first innings. Everyone looked at me. When you instantly regret an outburst you've done, you just look a bit strange. And everyone's just looking at me going, "Are you all right?" Yeah. It did prompt that sort of reaction, though, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Did you watch that bit?
Yeah, I think that was after tea or drinks.
It was after. Yeah,
it's just.
I even in our WhatsApp group chat, I said I worry about us after drinks breaks.
Just with this England side, all the time you just think, switch on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You want to shake them sometimes,
when
don't you?
You've got it good, just take advantage.
Lovely shot that off his pads, Bairstow.
How do you think that this England era will compare against other eras?
I mean, it's all been very comfortable for England, and a lot of that is because they've always had Broad and Anderson for such a long period of time. So teams have kind of lent on that, I think, quite for a while. But it'll hurt losing a series at home if they do.
The era that I would kind of define this as. So obviously, Broad and Anderson were part of the Peterson era.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking of the Root, Stokes, Bairstow era. But when they've when Root's been captain, when Cook was captain, and they were the dominant players. 90s, would you compare it to the 90s teams? Having good players, but not quite ever being able to beat the Australians?
I suppose it's difficult to compare the 90s because I think the opposition's a lot weaker now. Yeah. And that's quite a strange thing to say when you...
Does that make this side a worse side than the 90s side?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good cricket teams about in the 90s, weren't there?
Yeah.
Even like your Zimbabwe's were useful, weren't they?
We've had some great times with this era.
They're on a bit of a ride. I want to watch Zimbabwe, by the way.
Yeah,
they're on a bit of a
West Indies haven't qualified for the World Cup.
So sad, isn't it?
I think that is the problem with Test cricket, and it is England and Australia can produce a new generation, but if we don't have anyone else to play, it's going to get pretty boring.
I look at the West Indies though. I know Stanford turned out to be a con man.
Yeah,
but it was. If you ask a lot of people in the Caribbean, they look very fondly on him because he was someone who was willing to invest in it, and it's just a hotbed for talent, and it makes me sad that they drop to certain levels. I know from listening to the Caribbean cricket podcast that they often get frustrated with people who say like, "Isn't it bad about the West Indies? Isn't it a shame?" But then there's very little action.
Yeah.
So they get frustrated with that, and I can understand that, can't you?
Yeah.
Because we all say that cricket needs a strong West Indies, but there seems to be very little innovation or very little intervention there.
Yeah. It's up to India, Australia, and England really to do anything about it. Realistically, these days, it's up to India to do anything about
I mean,
it.
can you imagine if like some billionaire, like you look at the investment that's going into like the IPL and these tournaments and in football and in golf, if the Saudis got hold of the Caribbean and just sort of said to all the islands that we're going to build, new infrastructure, we're going to put a development plan in place, they'll maybe hire some people from England or Australia, performance excellencies, and what it could lead to, it would be so exciting, wouldn't it?
Do you know what really gets under my skin about all this kind of like market forces and stuff around cricket is you constantly get told by anybody in the know, and they probably, given their positions in cricket, know a lot better than we do. But you get told that advertisers want T20 cricket because it's 3 to 4 hours long. You can put your adverts on TV and people tune in, lots of people tune in and watch it. Now, what I always think about that is, if you got loads of people watching Test cricket, it's on all day. So you've got 8 hours of adverts. There's an advert after every other over, pretty much. There's more advertising space. I don't see why advertisers wouldn't want a strong Test cricket.
Yeah.
Because if you've got loads of Indian fans tuning into this now, part of a healthy World Test Championship, loads of Australian fans, loads of English fans, you've got loads of people watching your adverts. I just don't understand that.
It's been that's one of the most eyebrow-raising things that the West Indies have struggled to get a sponsor. Yeah. I mean, if you think back to the generations of all the plethora of fast bowlers, the advertisers would be queuing up these days to sort of cash in.
And that's the thing is, it's self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Is that if you consistently say something that is a product that advertisers aren't interested in, you completely refuse to invest in it, then it becomes a worse product. Advertisers won't invest in it, and then it just slowly withers.
It explains the low crowds as well. From researching this topic, I wonder why the crowd's so dour in West Indies. They're just sick of losing.
Yeah,
and I think we would be sick of losing after a bit, wouldn't we? If England every year the host just came and cleaned us up, I think England do have more tolerance for international sport than other nations. I think we're good at losing and we're good at showing blind faith, but eventually it would take its toll on the overall product, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you want competitive cricket. Why is 2005 the idyllic Ashes series?
Yeah,
it was highly competitive and the home team won. That's why it's always kind of there as the staple. I think in Edgbaston they said that it was the most viewed Test match of all time in England.
What, the recent one?
Audience, yeah.
That's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a brilliant kind of advertisement of what Test cricket could be.
Yeah.
However, if we get to the Old Trafford Test match and we're 3-0 down, viewing figures won't be like that. You need competitive cricket. So that's looking at an Ashes Test match. If you then extrapolate that around the world, if the West Indies aren't winning ever at home, then no one's going to watch it.
Indeed.
A little bit of a lull now as kind of the
runs have dried up a little, haven't they?
Pessimism sinks in again.
Yeah.
We start that slow crawl to 250 for 5 before we can even talk about parallels with Headingley again. And it is just a waiting game now. Just trying to tick it over, trying to get overs into their legs again.
Mm-hmm. Reckon you can come a minute if I go for a toilet break in a minute?
Yeah, go on. You better be quick though. I haven't got loads of stuff to say.
I'm going to see out this over.
Why don't you give me a topic to cover while you go for the toilet?
I think looking at this series and how far it's stacking up so far.
That's a good shot.
Nice shot from Bairstow. In comparison to the anticipation, that'd be a good thing to talk about.
Have we not talked about that?
No, I don't think so.
All right, then.
I'm going to see this over out. Talk about bat sponsors.
Well, Harry Brooks sponsored by the MLB, isn't he? Major League Baseball.
Is he really?
He's got a sticker. Baseball.
I think he likes baseball. Have I heard that?
He did some work with them. I think they were in Trafalgar Square, Major League Baseball. I think they had a game at West Ham's ground the other week, and they always like to get the cricket players involved. I think last time they were over,
Jimmy Anderson did some as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Anderson and Lyon threw the first pitch. Last time they were over, I think Hales. I think it was 2019. They came over last time, and Hales
would be ideal for baseball, wouldn't he?
Hales and Butler and
Livingston as well.
Yeah, so I think Livingston does a bit of work with baseball.
You can tell, can't you? Big swing and a miss from Bairstow there.
Coaches.
Right, you're going to let you cover this for 2 minutes. I'll be quick.
So I think one thing that we did say before the start of this Test series is the one thing that will really kind of determine the outcome is which bowlers stay fit, which teams stay fit. So obviously Nathan Lyon was injured in this Test match, and it looks like Anderson is probably kind of walking towards his inevitable retirement. England look like they need to kind of do a mass overhaul to stay in the series of their bowling lineup. So I think that that's kind of a great disappointment when we look at expectations of the series. I think to turn it around now, though, it does need kind of radical overhaul. Nobody has come from 2-0 down in an Ashes series since Donald Bradman's Australia in the 1930s. So it's a big ask. It's a massive ask. It's probably near on impossible. But I would pick Broad, Tong and Wood. I'd probably bring Ali back. I think you need a spinner for Headingley. It'd be good to get some comments from anybody in the comment section as to who you'd pick for your bowling lineup for the next test. In terms of batting, I'd probably bump Bairstow up to 3 and bring Folkes in. I think if we're going to go with this short ball tactic, we need a good keeper. Bairstow struggled yesterday. I think that he did a lot of work, so we'll need that. In terms of expectations, it's been a great shame, really. It's been a great shame that England haven't quite lived up to expectations, because we came in with a lot of hope.
So far.
We came in with a lot of hope, really, didn't we? Everyone will still have hope going into Headingley that we can win that. And then you go to Old Trafford saying, come on, let's win it and make it level.
A draw's completely off the cards now, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're getting a result today, one way or the other?
Yeah. I don't think there'll be a draw in this series in any of the test matches.
Unless there's rain.
Unless there's absolute loads of rain.
Yeah, indeed. How did you find talking to yourself for a few minutes?
Oh, dreadful. I just stared at the...
Go on, you've earned that croissant now. Have your pan au chocolat. So, it's 191 for 5. Stoke 60, Bairstow 10 as we speak. Still very slim chance of England winning this game, but you kind of feel that Stokes' head's screwed on here. Fingers crossed he can give England a little bit of hope. If you're just joining us, this is our second live watch-along. Are we calling these watch-alongs to the Ashes? We're enjoying them very much so. It's a different way of viewing the cricket, so if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We're just seeing Australia attempt to suffocate Johnny Bairstow. There's a fielder now on the leg side to cut out that sort of swipe across the pads. Little flick.
Sorry. If I was Australia, I'd be tempted. Do this for a few overs.
Then trial a few bounces and see if he takes it on.
The ego with Bairstow.
Yeah.
He does like playing the hook and the pull.
It's such a scramble, isn't it, when you're how you sort of handle that short ball. I mean, it's hard enough as it is batting in general, but you know, do you duck? Do you do it? Just Peterson described it really well. He says your foundation's rocked.
The two players who I think have played it best, in fact, the player that really stood out to me with the way that he played it was Cameron Green. He ducked the most of it, and to be honest, I think he actually got out on a pull at one point.
And he's the tallest bloke on the field.
He is, yeah. He just kind of tried to leave it alone, and play the shot to the balls that were in the right areas. I think with some of our players, particularly Brook, particularly Duckett, I think they've got out playing to hooks and pulls to balls that are just the complete wrong area. A little bit more patience.
People were saying Harry Brook looks a bit uncomfortable to the short ball. Would you say that's a fair comment?
Yeah, I think he looks like he's obviously had a brilliant start to his international career, and he's got a good test record. He's got 4 test hundreds already. But it does look like a tactic that most teams will look at him and say, right, well, we can probably get him there. I think the thing is with Brook is he's one of... I remember when Papara came into the side in 2009, scored 3 quick centuries and then got worked out. The real test of a proper test batsman is once you get worked out, you've got to improve. You can't just stand still. I think that'll be the big test for him going forward in this series, because we do need runs from him.
What's been interesting about the pitches, I think, in his first 2 test matches, we're seeing a lot of chop-ons. You know, the ball, have a bit of a temptation to veer back into the stumps after it's been played. Do you know what I mean? I think the players are quite wary of that.
They are. They're not English wickets, are they, really? they're a little bit. They've got a little bit of the West Indian nature about
I think they've
them.
got a bit of New Zealand about them.
You think?
Yeah, I do. So you've got on the balcony there, Crawley,
Collingwood.
Keaton
Patel.
What do you think they're going to be doing at this point now?
Praying.
Well, yeah.
At this point, I don't think there's much you can do. The tactics really are.
The captain's in the field. The tail's waiting in the wings.
The tactics really are don't get out.
Yeah. I think these two know full of well, even if they're to get out, they have to put it in a position. They can't give the tail enders expect them to stick around when they're chasing 180 or whatever they need now, 170 or whatever they need now. Do you know what I mean? It's
no. You've got to.
Yeah.
These two have to.
What can you give the tail realistically?
70.
I think that's steep.
I know. If one of these were in with Broad with 70 to go, you've got hope that they might be able to kind of take it deep. But
you know what makes me think? When Stokes after this game said the roles are reversed and Lyon as this time I fumbled and Lyon's got them over the line. Yeah. I wonder whether this series might right all the wrongs of the look we had in 2019. Not this time, mate. That kind of thing. So could England pull it close but this time he just falls short. He edges one or he chops on.
We really rode our luck in 2019, didn't we? In both the World Cup, Headingley.
We used all our luck there, and I think it came to fruition, didn't it? When we lost to New Zealand in that nail biter, didn't we? In the winter,
we've lost 2 nail biters now, haven't we? Edgbaston and the one in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's it. It's probably one of Root's biggest successes. Captain not losing that series. Managing to come out of a draw.
Yeah.
Do you mean because I'd say this team's stronger than that team now. Would you agree?
Yeah. They're definitely a stronger batting lineup, and I think that you always feel like a stronger team when you can put runs on the board. I think our bowling it's been a series too far for some of our bowlers, hasn't it? There is a thing about Robinson now. He gets wickets. Constantly gets wickets, but he can't be in a bowling lineup with Broad and Anderson.
Yeah,
he has to be
he's having a struggle, isn't he, with pace in particular.
He has to be the hoggard.
Do you know what Marcus Trescothick said? Just veering off this subject for a second. He said, while Stokes is at the crease, Australia be wary.
Yeah, of course, yeah. If you're an Australian fan now, you're still nervous.
Yeah.
You're not completely.
I'm nervous, and I know that the hope's not. The hope that kills you, always said, doesn't it? I don't want to get excited. I feel like it'll just crush me.
Yeah. Well, you can't get excited at this point.
It feels a mammoth task, doesn't it?
Like you say, we're about 80 off, even kind of starting to consider what you could do with the tail.
Australia know they've got to be patient here. They've got so many runs to work with. We did remarkable to reduce them to this. Do you think?
Yeah. No, we've shown spirit with the ball. We've just lacked a little bit of potency to really get across. And I think that's why we've needed to be a bit more ruthless with the bat. I keep going back to that declaration. I just think that declaration on the first day of Edgbaston, why? Did we need to do it?
Will it become like a NASA call? A kind of will it be will it be like the kind of thing that sort of demonstrates his captaincy is remembered by?
The quote that kind of comes to my mind when I think of this England side in this series is pride comes before a fall.
Yeah.
I think all of the going away playing golf, all the comments in the media, it's just shown don't get ahead of yourself too quickly.
Yeah. Do you know what? The going back to Lords, the pure elitism of Lords, like you had to be a member to enter the gift shop.
I know, yeah. Well, there was a members-only gift shop, wasn't there?
Oh, mentors. That's where you can buy your hats and ties and stuff.
Yeah, it does rub me up the wrong way, stuff like that, I must admit. Because in some ways, right, I think you should be... Are you more likely to get... I don't know, maybe not even... Maybe
they probably don't care about...
Maybe I don't know. Maybe people like me and you aren't even eligible to become members. Probably the case.
You have to be recommended, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you've got to actually play for the side itself.
Thing is about this tactic now from Australia is we aren't going to go anywhere. So they've gone for what the tactic we've gone for. So it's going to be singles.
Yeah.
We've just got to accumulate.
Are they hoping we get Bott almost? Not Bott, but just a little bit like Rush of Blood. I think they know Bairstow will probably present them opportunities.
Stokes,
as much as he can be destructive.
Stokes always gives an opportunity, doesn't he? He always does. He'll always run down and
do you feel
do something.
The way this series is going, we could get it to a stage where we need about 50, and then we could just get a really crap dismissal, like a howler.
Yeah, it feels. Yeah, this feels like. Yeah,
it feels like balloon popping territory, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Like bang.
Yeah.
All your hopes and dreams gone in one delivery, which is cricket.
So let's have a bit of a look forward to take it away from this test match now, in terms of what England have got over the next year or so. So after this, we've got the World Cup in India.
Indeed.
There is the fixtures of that have just finally been released.
I'm relatively optimistic about that. You?
I think we've got a good side.
The thing, England, Australia is kind of like carefree attitude about white ball cricket, dare I say. It kind of sets them up as quite favourites anyway, because India are obsessive about white ball and they're obsessive about winning their own conditions. The pressure's on them, isn't it?
Sorry, keep going for a second.
I do really believe that that they're often hindered by their obsessive fan base. Is there a case of that?
Yeah,
almost like England football.
I always say the parallels for me are England football and Indian cricket.
That's why you tend to get your Italy's, off the radar. I mean, I know they're a premium side themselves, but they're just geared up for. I think we're finally at the stage now, which is very rare for English sport, where we kind of can envisage England winning it, can't we? I don't think it's you could very much see England just coming out of nowhere and just like they did in the recent T20 World Cup, just blossoming at the right time.
I haven't seen the odds for it.
I'm guessing India are favourites.
I would imagine India favourites and England are second.
And Australia then.
And I reckon the third one might be Pakistan.
Do you know who's backing themselves in a quiet way? I think it might have been one of the Morkles who said this, but I think Rabada said it actually. I think Rabada said something on the lines of that he feels that South Africa got a really good chance because a lot of South Africans get imported to the IPL, so they're used to the pitches. It's not an outrageous comment, is it? It's just South Africa tends to bomb in tournaments, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know what.
They bomb spectacular as well. Did they lose to like the Netherlands last time? And all they needed to do was I think it was just a straightforward run chase of some sort, and they seem to bollocks that up. What's going on here? No way!
Oh, for God's sake! Bursley just walked out of his crease, and I wouldn't claim that if I was Australia.
He is not happy with this. This could really stink.
Do you know what Australia will do here?
What? They'll say it's payback for
the catch.
Stokes is going to have a word.
It doesn't look good, this.
Crawley is beside himself. This could get hairy. Australia are claiming this 100%. Pat Cummins is having none of it. This could be a really big moment in cricket.
It's not a good look, this, for Australia.
Cummins doesn't seem like he's considering this. So Bairstow's presuming this is a dead ball.
I think everything in cricket should say this is a dead ball, really. Like, if we think about the spirit of cricket, right? Materiality-wise, is he going for a run there?
This is where I wish. Oh man, this is really shit. If this happens,
it's not worth it. Australia, you're gonna win.
You're gonna win this. Yeah.
This reminds me, when we talk about mancads and stuff, Australia have been so vocal about mancads. Oh, that's bad.
Really shit.
It's out of order, that.
That is really, really shit. Bairstow is fuming, and rightly so. That is really crap. They'll love it, and they're smiling, but, Australia have done really well to sort of cleanse themselves off the sandpaper.
This kind of, it's ironic that at the start of this day, I was saying that this Australian side have actually become a more likeable side.
Seeing what the reaction is online.
I don't know. I'm not in for that. Let's watch the umpire here. Let's watch the umpire. Bairstow, to be fair to Carey, right? To be fair to Carey,
yeah, I'm listening.
He throws it as soon as it's in his gloves.
Yeah. It's totally took the the life out of this game now. Yeah, the feedback is very, very poor. Very, very poor. Stokes is not happy. And now we've got Stuart Broad.
Yeah, it feels like years of redemption for Australia after sandpaper have just been wiped out. The test has gone though. Yeah, that's frustrating. I just don't think you're winning the game.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's bad.
I do think you made a good point about Carey.
He does throw it straight away, to be fair to him, but it's just, it's not worth it.
On the whole, it's shit, isn't it?
It
there's an argument to it, stay in your crease kind of thing, but I think this is poor. Really poor. We had a comment saying that isn't that what Ollie Pope did to the Grand Home last year?
I don't know. I must admit I can't remember it. If it is.
So we just had a comment saying, explain what's happening, please. I'm not watching. What we've just basically seen is a bouncer from the Australian bowler, Bairstow's ducked, and he's just kind of, in his own way, presumed the ball was dead. And Alex Carey's just Alex Carey. Is that his name?
Yes.
Alex Carey's basically thrown the ball at the stumps, and it will go down as a stumping. But there's a question here of whether this is a a kind of, is it right for cricket? I think what might have happened here, whoever's fielding just next to Bairstow here, I think is it maybe
it's Renshaw.
Renshaw. Has he had a word with Alex Carey just watch Bairstow? It could be. We've now got the Nighthawk in, and we need about 3,000 runs to win. It's looking bleak. Looking bleak, Bott.
So Daniel Brettig says on Twitter, Dozy from Bairstow, Carey alert and runs him out. Ball wasn't dead. In some ways, I do agree with it, but I just don't think it's the right way. It's the same in some ways. It's the same as the Mancad. Is the other team getting an advantage of what they're doing? Realistically, Bairstow's getting no advantage there with what he's doing. So. John Wright, I don't know who he is. We follow him. Johnny Bairstow, only has himself to blame. It's the rules of the game.
I'll say there's a bit of smiling going on between Stokes and Cummins, so I think maybe Stokes accepts it. One thing for sure, Glenn McGrath won't disagree with it.
Yeah, bloody hell. I daren't listen to what Glenn McGrath has to say this afternoon. Joffrey Archer says, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, see, this will be over quickly now.
Broad just took one on the head. Are you all right, pal?
Jared Kimber, what the hell is Bairstow doing? That is so stupid. Never leave your crease until the ball is dead.
So a lot of Australians seem to be in favour of this.
Paul Newman, that's very poor from Australia.
Do we have an Australian in saying it's poor?
Keep going, see what I've got.
Just looking at this bouncer. He does. That's his theory. He turns his back on it, doesn't he? Not that there's any shame in that, because I fucking definitely would do that. But
yeah, it's
well noted with Broad, isn't it? His view on bounces. He's had a lot of tough times about this, hasn't he, over the years? Obviously, precautions now. Physio must enter the field every time a player is struck on the helmet.
Maybe we just maybe we play for time. Just every time we get it on the head.
I think that's what I have to do.
Longest physio.
Fuck that. Could you be arse facing fucking fast bowlers, bouncers? No. They're chatting amongst themselves, Australia now. They seem fairly happy with themselves with this decision.
Dean Wilson from the Mirror, that is out.
That's his trademark, Dean Wilson. He uses that a lot. That is out every time there's a wicket.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. He's not, I don't think he's like aggressively saying that his his thoughts on that. Broad took a really bad one, didn't he? First innings off Cam Green. He just shown it now.
He did.
It really struck. It made him really like have a minute, didn't it?
Well, I can tell you now. this series has got a bit spicier, whether it's competitive or not. It's going
Let me give you another silver lining. I know it's very unlikely England will win 3 Test matches in a row, but they are still in this Ashes series with a 2-0. The Ashes haven't officially gone. Do you get what I mean?
Stuart Broad to Alex Carey on stump mic. You'll forever be remembered for that. It's true.
It is, yeah. I don't think it's quite as I don't think it's like cheating anyway. I think we've got to really distinguish this from.
No, it's not.
I don't think we're at sandpaper level kind of like disgrace here.
I remember when Bell got run out that time. He hit the ball down to the boundary.
Yeah.
And he thought he'd gone for 4. It was
Yeah.
against India. It was against Tendulkar's India.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't know who the captain was, whether it was Dhoni or Dravid.
Yeah, yeah.
And it stops just short of the boundary, and Bell thinks that he's gone for 4.
So is he leisurely getting back?
He's walking off for lunch.
Right.
And the fielder picks it up, throws it in, and the keeper takes the bails off.
Yeah.
Now he's out.
Yeah.
However, Bell's not trying to take a run.
Yeah,
It's been a bit dozy. Realistically, how do you want to win the game?
Ooh.
You want to win the game by getting people out in a legitimate way.
Broad is hissing like a snake here. He's just had a word with Cummins, and Cummins like smirkily laughing. He's not pleased. He's not pleased.
I don't think anyone should be pleased about that. I think it's crap. I do.
Look, the Aussies are cackling now like hyenas.
Yeah.
You know what's really shit is because I feel that this is the worst side that could do it from where they're at now. Australia, they're the World Test champions. They've like you said, they've cleansed themselves after sandpaper. Yes, in theory it is out, but it's another spirit-based decision, isn't it? I actually think Alex Carey's a good guy. I mean, I don't think he's a menacing player or he would go out his way to gain advantages. He's doing his job, isn't he? It's as a team. What can you do once you've done it? The team can't really reverse it. You can't say, "Oh, we won't let you have it."
Can do.
Can you?
You can withdraw your appeal.
Right.
So that's similar to
but withdrawing an appeal is different to a blatant.
No, it's not. Is it
not?
It's not. So similar to what happened with Bell is he was out. The ball hadn't gotten to the boundary. The fielder throws it in, and he knocks the stumps out.
Yeah.
Bell's been run out.
Yeah.
However, in cricket, you have to appeal for someone to be out,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know when it's the bowled or whatever. But Australia in that situation could say, we're withdrawing our appeal, and it wouldn't be out. So
yeah. We're getting a lot of, by the way, from Australians going, "Oh, dozy poms," this kind of thing.
Look, it is dozy.
Yeah. But listen, for 1 minute, I'm not having. Broad is absolutely seething here. He is giving Marnus pelters. I think for 1 minute, there's no way Australia wouldn't feel hard done by this.
The thing is about Broad, right, is they're never going to win this Test match, right?
So what's he doing now then? What's his game? Is this tactical?
No, what I'm saying is you've got to switch on at least. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't just get into a massive slanging match on the pitch and forget that.
Sorry, but Ben Stokes' bat's just gone absolutely flying.
You can't just forget that there's a game to win.
Yeah.
And obviously you're never going to win it. But
I think Stokes has conducted himself quite well, actually, on the whole.
Yeah, I do.
Well, go on. I'll make you captain of Australia. That's a title you thought you never have. What are you doing here? Be on it. Take yourself out of the England situation.
Genuinely being honest, right? I remember when we man-cadded someone in a semi-final of a match.
Yeah.
When I was playing like under 18s or whatever, and it's just not worth it because, especially when you're this far ahead, you're gonna win the match.
Yeah.
Just don't. It's not worth it.
Is Stokes gonna have a bit of fun now? He's just wallop one to the boundary.
Well, Stokes has to just go, doesn't he, and just say, right.
Well, Broad's not going to stick around, is he?
No, he's not.
So they're going. You know what's gap with Broad? 2 people under the lid.
Yeah.
And they're going to bump him.
Robinson.
He's going to turn his back on it. He's probably going to glove one.
Broad, Robinson, Tong, and Anderson genuinely probably got about 30 balls within the 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So Stokes is going to have to. He's got to almost pretend it's a heading lead now, and pretend that Jack Leach is at the other end and he's number 11, and just bat like that. Bat 4 balls, take a single.
I'm really, it's impacting more than a wicket. I think Stokes is clearly going for it now. He's got a lot to do, hasn't he? Jesus Christ.
You rarely, to be fair, the Lord's crowd are up now chanting cheat at the Australians. You rarely see that at Lord's.
That's not very Lord's-like, is it?
No, it's not. But
is there anything more demeaning than a bloke in an egg and bacon top calling you a cheat?
I know.
That's.
This is really kind of.
They've done it at the home of cricket as well, Bott.
Well, you're not going to say that anymore, are you? You're going to say
Harsha Bogle takes big issue with
one
that.
of the homes of cricket.
One of the homes of cricket. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not quite as easy on the ear. One of the homes of cricket.
I don't mean funny. These fours are just making me depressed a bit.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean by that?
In some ways, this is if we were 270 for 6 now, right? Then you're thinking, come on, Stokes, do it. And I don't. What have you done? This has ignited the series. Even if the War of Words was just between England and the 90s cricketers.
Yeah.
Up until now.
That's so hard on it.
The War of Words will now be between England and Australia. I think that catch last night has really rubbed Australia up the wrong way.
Do you know what I do envisage happening here? The all Australians calling this out as a bit of
Do you think I don't?
Well, well, the thing is, what I mean by this is Australia will probably win the Ashes if they win this Test match.
Yeah.
It'll be but you did it this way. That'll be the new caveat. Do you know what I mean? The
to
new
kind of bring the Cummins
to try and take the shine off the victory a bit. We wouldn't have done it this way.
See, I think the McGraths of the world, the Langers, the Pontins, they'll just be saying it's Dozer. They'll love it.
Should we get some more reaction?
Yeah.
Let's have a little look.
This is a change. This is a complete change in tact from Cummins. He has always been kind of put up as the nice guy of Australian cricket. We've seen a little bit more of an edge to him today. Lawrence Booth on the podcast a few weeks back says, I mean, why leave your crease until certain the ball is dead? It's an unnecessary risk. Like Stark rubbing the ball along the ground last night after he'd completed the catch. That is true. People have said about Stark being dozy.
Yeah.
Birstow has been dozy too.
We've just seen the most Tory-looking guy I've ever seen in the crowd. He's wearing sunglasses, a jacket, and he's yelling sheets.
It's going off, really.
He definitely goes to Eton, doesn't he?
Yes. It rarely looks like this at Lords.
I'd be amazed if you're allowed to say cheat at Lords.
Yeah, like you can't say liar in the House of Commons.
You're not going to get in the gift shop that way. Oh well, at least we're seeing some boundaries. It's just that inevitable. I feel like a wicket's coming at the same time. Do you?
Well done. Well, it's the ideal over from Stokes. 3 falls and a single off the last ball.
Sorry, just replying to our Australian friends. Bad men.
Look, I get it. It is does. I'm unsure of whether
Broad is not happy. I quite like Stuart Broad being pissed off. He had that sort of Cummins had that laugh, when like someone is like calling you a dickhead or something, your approach is to like smile and laugh it off. That's the kind of exchange I think just happened.
So George DeBell says, to be clear, it's not cheating, it's just out.
Yeah.
So they've not cheated.
No.
It comes down to that age-old ambiguity of
what is the spirit of the game. Yeah. It's such for a spirit, like a word that's so soothing. It's such a divisive topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you say India are pro-Mankad as a nation?
No, they've always been anti-Mankad, the Australians.
No, India said. Do you think they view it differently to us?
Yeah, they do. You know that.
No, individuals like Ashwin view it differently.
In general, they think that Harsha Boglers of the world, in general, like Mankad.
What's your views on Mankad?
I think of it similar to that. I think the player although the crease is there and you have to stay in your crease, there's a level of common sense that has to be. There's almost a level of, do you know?
Pat Cummins just nearly took the most amazing caught and bowled.
Giving the benefit of the doubt to an attacker when he's offside, or giving the benefit of the doubt to the batsman. I think in some ways, giving the benefit of the doubt of what advantage is Birstow getting in that situation. There is nothing.
No. It's a cheap shot, isn't it?
But we talked about it earlier when Birstow came in. He's never the man for the tough situation. Very rarely the man for the tough situation. And we need players that are a little, Stokes is switched on. Stokes wouldn't do that, I don't think.
No.
And in these kind of, you don't want to give the team the chance to do that.
No.
We gave Australia the chance to do it.
How far are we off here now? But
We're miles
160.
160.
It's just in.
Yeah, it's just
done.
impossible.
It's just a matter of time, isn't it?
And the thing is for Stokes now, on one leg, they're going to bowl short to him with a leg side field. He has to take the risk to try and get the runs. You can't. It's beyond. When we started the morning, we said we have to be perfect. Now you're talking about
it continues, mate.
A messiah complex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd be.
I might need a week off work if he did this.
Yeah. Jim Jason can get anything he wants.
Yeah. Broad is continuing. Yeah. I think his head's going to fall off.
Well,
it's probably already off.
Broad's head's fallen well off. I think that from a bowling perspective, that's brilliant for England. Broad's incredible when he's in this kind of situation.
Ooh.
However, he does need to realise that if we're going to have any kind of chance,
he's got to do something.
Broad and Robinson need to stick with.
I'm very surprised Broad comes in before Robinson. You?
Well, I think they decided with Broad is that he's a walking wicket, and you'd rather have him flash a few runs off 10 balls, and Robinson comes in next and can steady the ship. Mm-hmm. He's almost when you used to Graham Swan used to bat open for knots in T20 pinch hitter. Back in that days when Ian Harvey used to do it and stuff. It's like a test match version of a pinch hitter. This Night Hawk. They're going to be right into him now.
There's words. Broad is not going to shut up.
None of this is going to be in his half. This is all short stuff now.
Yeah.
And then once he starts backing away, he'll go for the Yorker.
Can you piss Broad off?
And he just wafts it, doesn't he?
Yeah. What's he saying there? One ball left.
Whether it's
never good, is it?
2 left.
That's what I'd say. That fucking hell.
No, yeah.
Well, I think me and you would have to wear them.
Matthew Wade did that against Archer, didn't he, in 2019?
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think it's your best option if these are going to be the tactics. I mean, might have everyone with a broken arm by the end of it, but
yeah. After you get out of the bathroom, you see all them.
It's a shame because I was just thinking if we could. Oh, that's out.
Not given.
I
think it was a hit. That. Look at him now.
I was just thinking if
I kind of like Broad pissed off. I really do.
Yeah. He's a great character.
It's theatre, isn't it?
One of our friends always says there's no characters left in cricket. I think Broad is like a real character.
Well, like we always say, the thing about Anderson and Broad is they don't get IPL or franchise deals, so they kind of they still have that old era of where Australians and England don't get on. You know what I mean? Whereas the rest of them are quite pally, aren't they?
Yeah.
See what I'm getting a few messages here, right?
George DeBell says, not sure I've heard Lords like this before. It does look pretty raucous right now.
Who said that? What we said? I missed that, sorry.
This is good. Apparently on Stump Mike, when Cummins dropped that catch off Stokes, Broad said to Cummins, do you think that one's out? So George DeBell says that he's never heard Lords like this before. This will...
Well, is that a few people swearing every now and again?
Well, this will completely change the direction of this series, though.
It's been
amongst
Peterson
the players,
said it has been nice, hasn't it?
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, I think that this will.
You know, I'm looking forward to the post-match interviews.
Yeah, they will be interesting.
We'll have to turn it up for that.
Let's have a look. Henry Moran never heard Lords react like that, and more than one Australian in the media centre shaking their heads in dismay that what the appeal wasn't withdrawn. So Australians in the media centre.
I have a sneaky feeling McGrath might disagree with this.
No, I don't. He's a bastard.
Can you try and find out? He'd probably say it was a really tactful, really good delivery.
Dean Wilson, atmosphere at Lords now incredible. Oof. This is good. The one thing I'd say about Stokes here is well done. Is he can't, particularly at Cummins, but I think at both Green and Cummins, he can't give Broad more than two balls.
I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but we could do in many ways. If Broad ain't going to do anything, we can almost do him not being there.
No, that's ridiculous.
No, I don't mean it that way. I don't mean I want us to lose wickets. I'm just saying that, you
need Broad to stay around for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then there might be a time where Stokes would say to Broad, and honestly, we're cloud cuckoo land here. This is not ever going to happen, right? But there could be a time that if you got closer, you could say, right, Broad, try and get us 20.
Yeah. Bit like what Australia made a call of that, didn't they? In their run chase last innings.
Cummins just
they just went right.
I'm going to try and get 30 off this over.
We're not going to stick. If we have 130, at least puts the pressure back on.
Yeah.
Ooh, bit poor fielding from Josh Hazelwood there. Very village cricket kind of thing, that.
Yeah.
Is that a first signs of the Australians being affected by the crowd? Oh God, this is out. No, it's a 6.
Stokes has this weird quality in life of hitting balls,
and they're just about
over the rope.
I am using a bit of reverse psychology there.
Yeah, he rarely hits a 6 that's like out the ground, does he? If he hits a 6, it's always just dropping on the side of the field. He's probably, would you say he's the most dramatic cricketer?
I think he's a very lucky cricketer.
Don't say stuff like that, Rob.
No, but I mean, like things like that, it goes his way. Like
you're right.
Well,
so, now we've got a wicket in pen.
So John, put this glass in my mouth.
Yeah. But no, he rarely hits a big 6, does he? Oh my God, down. Come on, Stokes, calm down.
I mean, Stark was over the boundary rope, stood over the boundary rope.
I think this is why, what we're seeing now is why Australia have done what they've done. Because Stokes is on 94 now. In the space of Burstow's wicket, he's put on 35 runs, right? This is what they were worried about, is they've decided that if Burstow and Stokes had carried on, Stokes could have done something like this and then it could have got really hairy. So Australia have always been wary of this England side. And I think that wicket and the lack of withdrawal of that wicket, of that appeal, has shown 100 century for Stokes. I mean, it's a brilliant century.
That's come out, no, right?
Yeah. No matter what.
There'll be no celebration there.
But
nice to see Stokes get a ton.
It is. I mean, there's a bit of me now that says, I mean, Stokes is a truly incredible player, really, isn't he? The drama that he brings to the game.
This time round, it's not so much the ability of Stokes, it's the fitness. Has he got the fitness to score?
I think now he has to think, right, he's got Australia thinking now. He scored boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Can he now start to pick up two? He's a crop going in. How does he start to score? I think that's his problem. Is
will Australia become defensive in the field? Will he stick more people on the boundary?
That's what I mean. And the problem for him there is in 2019, what he did really well was he ran twos. He really pushed twos hard. Now, if he's cropped and his knee's done, he's not going to be able to do that, and he has to just take this approach.
He sort of skips now, doesn't he? As opposed to runs, I find.
Yeah.
I'm having a bit of challenge with fucking that's a good throw.
Yeah. Good field inside Australia,
yeah. I could never get that power on a ball.
Miles better field inside than us.
Good son.
Good son, yeah.
Really good. Positives around. Stephen Fry's there in the crowd, can you see him at the back? Pretty sure it's him, that.
Yeah.
He's the chairman, isn't he?
I think he'll be in the boxes.
You think?
Yeah. Does look like him.
Do you like Stephen Fry?
Yeah. He seems like a good lad.
Interesting chap.
Yeah, loves his cricket.
All the celebrities
Dan Cricket. Sorry. Dan Cricket, we've had him on the show before.
South African Dan.
Yes, South African Dan. Says Stokes has them crazy eyes.
Does that mean he's in the mood, or you just can't start like this, can you?
Ian Higgins, I suppose one of the inspirations of the pod, really.
Yeah.
Love
the great cricketer.
Great cricketers. Carey would have carried that protester on day one with one hand.
There's always a funny side, isn't there?
Well done, Broad.
I almost don't want Stokes on strike because I don't want it. It's going to break my heart when he gets out. I can live with Broad just being on strike for a few overs. Well, that might get a few more people tuning in. Not that people are desperate to find out our view on it, but I think we're universal, aren't we? In the thing that it's out, but it's just not cricket. Yeah.
Ian Higgins, it's almost like what goes around comes around.
Is that a dig, or is he insinuating Stokes? Or
I don't think he's talking about Stokes there. Is he? He's just saying, Australia were probably had a bit of rough luck when it comes to the rules yesterday. They feel that it's been vindicated today. In some ways, I can see what they're talking about there.
It's just so political cricket, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rhubarb. That's what you're saying in the House of Lords, isn't it? If you can't swear. You like rhubarb?
Dan Cricket, Brody's growing on me.
Well, he's giving it to me, yeah. Oh, Bott, what are we going to watch now? Like you said, it's a stressful sport, cricket, isn't it?
It's the length of time that it takes. It's a grim torture.
Another 4.
It's another 4.
It is a form of torture, isn't it?
He's by far and away better than Flint or Stokes, isn't he?
Not bowler. That's the thing. Yeah, I think my always take on the Stokes Flintoff thing is Flintoff is a better bowler, but Stokes is streets ahead batting.
Flint, I just think as an all-round cricketer. My dad asked me this last night. He said, "Is
Your dad been watching the cricket?"
Yeah, we were watching it last night. He was saying who's better, Flintoff or Stokes as a cricketer? And as an all-rounder, I do think it's Stokes. Like he's just go on, push that too.
Broad will get there. It's something on strikers end. So
Flintoff and I think Stokes actually has a better bowling average than Flintoff. Do you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I think that might be a little bit offset by the amount of overs each of them bowl. I think obviously Flintoff would have bowled a lot more. This is where you can really show me up with my lack of depth when it comes to stats.
So Flintoff averaged 32 with the bat. He only scored 5 centuries, Flintoff.
Oh, God.
With the ball, he got 226 wickets at 33. Whereas, how many?
By the way, this would totally outdo Headingley, wouldn't it?
Oh my God! Are you joking?
It made Headingley look a little bit like, well, that wasn't that great.
I know.
We'd been highlights, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
I think this would end Jack Leach's career. This.
If England won from this situation, right, it would be the greatest Test win of all time.
I think it'd be the greatest win of all time in sport.
It could be the greatest Test match of all time.
Let's just not go there. Let's just not go there.
It's not going to happen.
A slow ball.
Just given Broad
2 balls.
Saying I hate it when they have 2.
Hell of it's on. Bouncers at the ready.
So, how many
50 partnership. Broad's done really well there, hasn't he? He's contributed massively. That'd be what I'd do. That I'd get like some of the other end who'd score a ton, and I'd go, "Yeah, I was once involved in 100 partnerships with my 5, of which came off my glove."
Yeah, we would be
I think we give ourselves a hard time, but you've got to. If you can't take the piss out yourself, what can you do?
Yeah, we weren't.
You know what this right needs now? This needs Ollie Robinson coming in, calling everyone a prick. He was right all along.
I'll tell you what we have. With Broad and Robinson, we've got 2 of our most controversial cricketers, haven't we?
Yeah. Jeez. They don't like being sweared at Australians, do they? How long till lunch? Can't be long now.
I think they've probably extended it because they probably
No, it's not that. I think you have to be 8 down for it to be like that. Yeah,
right.
That's one rule I am aware of.
Oh God, I'm stressed.
I am. I feel like I can't leave your house now for the rest of the day. I'm gonna do that. I mean, even getting Broad out gets a wind in the sail, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
It's just
another partner going.
It's one of those classic things that we said. What did we say? Oh God, I'm stressed. It's one of those classic things of every time you start to believe, you won't believe.
I feel we need to get a bit spiritual. Should we pretend Viv Richards is in the room and just sort of like, what is it? We've seen The Simpsons where he has that picture going, "I am Julie Giuliani. Do what I say."
Oh God,
we're gonna crack up in here, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think cricket could. I think in years' time, if cricket doesn't exist, I think they'll look back on like the humans and say, like, look how strange they were.
Yeah.
How they fixated themselves on this game. This is the
thing, though. I think this is the great. This is the underlying reason why cricket lovers want Test cricket to survive.
Yeah, it's for the stories, isn't it?
You don't get this.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't get it in T20 cricket. You know, that 2019 World Cup final gave us something close to this kind of like. Well, of course it was, you know, drama on the same levels of Headingley. It was incredible, but if we don't have Test cricket in the longer forms of cricket, we're never going to get cricket like this.
Do you know what I really appreciate now?
You're not going to get this in the IPL.
No.
Go on, sorry. Go on.
You know what I really appreciate right now? Chris Wokes.
Yeah, I know. Well done, bro.
Well done, Brody.
That lunch, it feels like it's lunch. They've been showing the clock a lot.
No, I don't think it is, mate.
Right. No, it is.
Right. Before we sign off, I want to go through some of the Australian players. I want you to say who's pro that dismissal and who would be against it. Marnus Labuschagne. I think Carey looks remorseful.
You think?
He does. He looks like he's a bit regretful. I think because he's getting a hard time, and
I think he's just a junior player in it.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's just see what look at Broad continues.
It's interesting this because
Warner's not having any of that.
It's interesting this because both with Sandpapergate and with this, I'm not saying this is close to Sandpapergate. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
However, this is a controversy in terms of how Australia play the game, as was Sandpapergate.
Yeah.
The youngest player in the side, or one of the most junior players in the side, again, involved in it. In fact, was Cummins not the bowler? Was Green not the bowler as well? So again, we've got the youngest player in the side in Green as the bowler. Carey is the keeper, one of the more inexperienced players in the side. And it always seems to boil down to the attention in these scenarios being on those junior players to make decisions like this. Booing them in the long room.
They might get some caviar thrown at them, must.
I mean, as much as I think the way you've got to look at it is, I wouldn't like it if we'd got Australia out like that.
No, I believe I would be. I'd like to think I'm of the opinion of you as well.
If we were in that position, right?
Yeah.
With oh my God, there's a bit of words from the long room. Never seen that at Lords.
Ooh,
that's big.
The Toffs are going at it.
I mean, I don't know why they're going at Usman Khawaja of all people. I don't know what he's got.
He's probably the most humble guy in the whole.
I feel like in this whole series, everyone seems to be having a go at Khawaja.
He's a lovely guy.
Nothing to say.
Have you heard him interviewed? He's like a very, very nice man.
He's being interviewed with his daughter on his lap, just having a nice chat.
Nice
family. Everybody seems to be turning on him.
Give Warner hell. That's what Warner's here for.
Right.
We wanted. This has been good fun, hasn't it? It's given us something to talk about.
Yeah.
Hopefully, next time we join, we'll have a bit more boring cricket, maybe. But hopefully not. Maybe we like this. Maybe this is what we signed up for podcasting for. So thank you very much for joining us. Been great to have some reaction. It's been good to get our record numbers, I believe. Yes. So we'll enhance these. We'll try and give you a bit more notices as well. But yeah, anything you want to say?
No. By God, we've got a lot to do from here, haven't we?
At least you were worrying about our material if England were going to bomb, but at least we've got something to talk about now.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll catch you soon, folks.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thanks for joining.